Good evening, everyone, and welcome into the FTF Saturday Night Superspeedway League, except it's on Fridays. We forgot to mention that. But we are ready for coverage here from iRacing Superspeedway for a league that definitely planted its roots in NR 2003. Pretty fitting that we get things rolling off in this series for the Painter Security Consulting Group 250 at what is now was the original Coca-Cola Superspeedway. Now it is branded as the iRacing Superspeedway and put into this modern sim. So Blake McCandless, Justin Prince, Zach Johnson down in the virtual production trailer. We're in a bit of a holding pattern here, Justin. We'll have coverage in just a little bit, as obviously a good portion of this field ended up kind of being yanked over to participate in the Moon Split 200 that's going on tonight.
Yes, of course, a big event going on involved with the Carnomaly 500 and some of the extreme speeds, to say the very least, taking part in that event, Blake. But when action gets underway for these competitors, they're going to have extreme speeds here as well. It's going to be some entertaining action once things get going here. I can't wait to see what happens.
It is going to be a full night of 230 to 240 miles per hour. Of course, on the Moon Split side of things, Carnomaly side of things, you have the Car of Tomorrow going around Daytona unrestricted. And of course, these powerful machines right here, they are unrestricted as well. So they'll be going 230, 240, maybe even 250 with the large spoilers you see on the cars, the amount of draft and the runs you can generate. I see Jeremy Clapper on track right now. He's doing 235, and he's all by himself. So there's going to be no shortage of speed tonight. But while we wait on that race to come to its conclusion and for many of the drivers to make their way on over here, we're going to bring you special, I guess we'll call it rain delay coverage of the FTF Bar Visuals 500 from earlier this season. We hope you enjoy.
All right, well, you guys heard it. 200 laps, 500 miles to kick off the FTF Cup Series season. Pace truck is off, and the FTF Bar Visuals 500 is underway. Ryan Doucette with a good start. He's got a big push from Corey Carpenter, and that high line is not connected at all as Colton Salick in the double, I almost said double again, 099 doesn't have much help as he heads into turn number one.
Ryan Doucette gets a nice push from Corey Carpenter, and they take the lead for the very first time. Never mind, Corey Carpenter jumps up, so does Derek Justice. The freight train is on for the Zoop House Chevrolet Camaro on the outside lane. Here comes Corey Carpenter, pointing his car to the lead with help from Derek Justice. Down the back straightaway, most of the field double file as they race off into turn three.
And perhaps a coordinated move there from two of the North Force Racing drivers as they maneuver around our pole sitter tonight in Ryan Doucette. It'll be Corey Carpenter. It'll be Corey Carpenter. It'll be Derek Justice that take the top two spots. And lap number one of the Bar Visuals 500 is complete. It's going to be led by the man who won one of the duels earlier this week, Corey Carpenter.
Corey Carpenter leads the first lap in the FTF Cup iRacing era. So a little bit of history made there. Good to see that. Still, though, he's got his teammate right behind him, Derek Justice in that 31, that high line, still led by Colton Salick. He's got Jacob Fisher right behind him. So it's going to be pretty obvious that these guys are going to be taking it very easily. As you see in the top left of your screen, 200 laps make up this race, and I don't think I want to tear up my car before this. Again, no resets in this league, but they're still racing pretty hard side by side as you're looking aboard Brad Wright as they're side by side for second through 3 and 4.
Corey Carpenter says as you noted last week, he did not come to wait in the back. He came here to race. So did Derek Justice. He leads the bottom lane, but Colton Salick up top trying to rally the troops. Just 4 lone cars up alongside of him there. Some of these guys are in conserve mode, but these guys at the front, they're pressing the attack. The action's on in turn one.
Action is on as it looks like a battle for the lead starting to brew here with Colton Salick trying to shove his nose up there. He's got draft and help. You see 4 cars at the moment trying to get that outside line to work, but really, Sam, the rest of the field, they're on the bottom side trying to get sorted out.
They got a big run down the back straightaway. Salick with a big push from Jacob Fisher into turn number 3, looking for the lead. He draws even with Corey Carpenter, not able to make the move. Still side by side. Their first 4 rows, now 5 side by side, and everyone's pretty much single file on back.
Yeah, and you got now 5 rows of double file, and nothing too extreme here. No real aggressive shoving just yet. I mean, this is only a lap 4 of a 200 lap event, as we noted here. So a lot of time here. I think these guys are just going to feel it out, see if there's any net code in the server. They don't want to be that first casualty of this race because they want to be there at the end. Off turn number 2, Corey Carpenter still shows the way.
And that's going to be the way they work off of turn number 2. Corey Carpenter showing the way. Derek Justice, Colton Salick side by side they go as a couple more cars starting to form up in that second lane. About 7 or 8 rows deep, they start to stack up the top side.
Still side by side into turn number 3. Corey Carpenter, Colton Salick. Nothing much has really changed at the front of the field here. Everyone's single file from them on back. Let's get an update on a couple of guys in the back here. Let's get a last place update. Jake Poulin in the 00 is shotgun on the field right now, and he is just swerving back there. So I'm not sure what Jake's deal is right now. He started in 26. He's bringing up the rear in 43rd. So I guess a strategy call in the works there. But still up front, Corey Carpenter has an edge over the field as they're side by side for second down the back.
And some new players on the outside lane. Michael Guest and Spencer Burns have decided to go to the penthouse here. They're trying to roll that third lane from about the 8th position. Now they have a little bit of headway up to 3rd on the outside lane there. 3 wide, 2 rows deep. So keep an eye on them. I do not think they want to ride in the back. As there's a little bit of a wiggle right there by JD Willis.
And look at that third lane starting to form up here. You have the 94 of Jacob Fisher, who's looking to go to the top spot. Salick left in the middle. He's got no help at all. Fisher jumps up top. He's got drafting help from Michael Guest, Spencer Burns. So early on here, lap number 6, and they are trying to get the third line to work as they go 3 wide for the race lead.
3 by 3 for 3 rows deep here at Daytona. The 94 of Jacob Fisher leads it with a push from Michael Guest, but they're just not able to go anywhere with that run. The middle lane seems to be hooked up, though. You got, of course, Colton Salick in the I almost said 009 again, 9099, going to the lead with a big shot from the 004 of JD Willis. So put Corey Carpenter into second, Salick in first, but here comes Carpenter back on the bottom.
Carpenter draws back strong on the bottom as JD Willis now pops to the third lane. So now we've got 3 wide, 3 rows deep. Almost a battle for the race lead here. JD Willis goes up. Garrett Conrad slots in the middle lane behind Salick now. As here they come back to turns 1. The outside lane, or excuse me, the very outside lane, now getting a little stronger. They're fighting back in turn 22.
They are certainly holding strong right there. We have not seen that third lane be particularly strong here through Speed Weeks, but right now JD Willis, Jacob Fisher trying to make it work. However, Michael Guest, he'll bail out of that battle. He goes to the middle line. That is going to leave JD Willis all by his lonesome. So an early effort here to try to get that third line to work does not pay off, but it works out for Colton Salick, who has just a nose on Corey Carpenter out of 4.
Colton Salick with a big push by the 900 of Garrett Conrad. The 2 on the inside of Justice and Carpenter not really hooked up as well as they could be. They get back to it now. Conrad jumps out to kind of breathe the engine a little bit. Salick leads that lap, but the bottom comes back as Carpenter takes the lead back into 1.
Carpenter back showing strong on the bottom lane. He's got really good help, and Derek Justice behind him and Ryan Doucette. Those 3 names are not going to go anywhere tonight, but here comes the top off the corner. A nice shove from Spencer Burns is going to propel Colton Salick to the lead down the backstretch. He has all the help. He is free and clear. Will he get to the bottom? I believe he will, as Spencer Burns is trying to join the fray down low. Never mind. He stays outside. New leader at the end of the back straightaway, Colton Salick.
I'll tell you what, it doesn't look like this is lap 8 of a 200-lap race as they were zigzagging all the way down the back straightaway. Top 4 cars, all locked in 2-car tandem. Spencer Burns to the top as he's got some drafting help from Michael Guest. Here comes Eric Chase Smith to be a part of the mix as well as he tries to get that high line to work. Burns goes to the bottom. He'll take the top spot.
So the top lane is slowly fanning out. So we got 2 cars up there now, and everyone's trying to make their way to the bottom just to make it to the end. We got 3 wide off of 2 there, but they settle it down. So it's starting to kind of ease up towards the front of the field. The top 4 are still racing pretty hard. Michael Guest there in that black number 74 with a push from Eric J. Smith. Tries to draw even with Spencer Burns, and he does. Guest puts the nose outside to the lead coming off of turn number 4, but here comes Burns back on the bottom.
And Sean, I believe the proverbial conveyor belt is beginning to go here at Daytona, where these guys are not trying to cover the spots. You get a run, you get clear, you get down, and the next guy on the line on the outside lane kind of just keeps repeating, and that's the trend we'll notice here at Daytona. Maybe not so much Talladega, but these guys just not really wanting to cover, not be all that aggressive, just run the course of the race and just let stuff fan out. As now Eric J. Smith on the outside lane, he's now challenging for the lead off too.
And Eric J. Smith challenging for the lead, but one car cutting the apron here on the front straightaway, trying to gain a little bit of time. It's Jake Poulin running all the way back here in the 43rd position, driving out of his mind, going below the yellow line, almost clipping the grass. It was a tough moment here. I thought he was going to go up in front of the whole pack.
And Blake, a very good job by Jake Poulin to keep that car under control. As you see, he's got nothing out front, nothing behind, but that is not stopping that car from dancing all over the place, running the middle of the groove. He really can't get it hooked up to the bottom, but Jake Poulin running some fast laps back there, 18 seconds behind the field.
Yeah, I think Jake Poulin's trying to count on if there's a provisional for next week's race. If he doesn't make the show, maybe getting that fast lap of the race, and how the NASCAR Cup Series set their starting grids this past fall. Back up front, though, Michael Guest still holding strong on the bottom. A challenge now coming from Eric J. Smith. He's got Derek Justice in the Baskin-Robbins Toyota Camry. They draw even in turns 3 and 4. The top lane's still there, as looks like the first 3 rows double filed and a little gap back, but some more cars trying to come to the front on the outside.
Oh, we got a big mover in the back. I got to cut you off here, Blake. Let's go back to Kevin McAdams in the 26. Look at him just knifing his way through traffic. Just not even trying. He's making it look effortless right now. I am sorry to cut you off there, Blake. I had to bring this up. Kevin just driving the race of his life back there in 40th.
Well, you took the words right out of my mouth, Sean. I was just about to talk about the absolute moves that Kevin McAdams is showing earlier on. We saw some great moves last night as well. You think about Will Klein and Kenny Brady's exciting battle to the line. How about Kevin McAdams running all the way back here in the 42nd position?
Wow.
Just does an amazing job working by Michael Frisch and Matt Danson, and Kevin McAdams finally into the top 40.
Kevin just like I said, driving the race of his life on pins and needles in that car. We're going to let him drive for a little bit. Back up front, though, where I guess the excitement is. Derek Justice leads the top lane. Eric J. Smith is currently your leader, working his way into turn number 1. Justice, though, with a big shot for the 004 J.D. Willis. Not enough to get alongside Smith, but side by side with Guest for second as they work through 1 and 2.
And Sean, one of these things you have to notice during this race is some of these cars are going to get a little wiggle here. You see the pointed Chevrolet Camaro nose right there, the bump on the back bumper of the Toyota Camry. These bumpers don't line up unless you're the specific manufacturer. And we saw it last night. Malik Ray got turned in the lead from a Chevrolet Camaro nose, so keep an eye on that. These cars don't have the grease on. They don't have the PAM like they did in 2011 that they would put on the back bumpers. Another thing to watch tonight, besides netcode, is if these guys get a little bit of a bumper hook, it can send somebody for another wild ride like we saw last night. And if you're Kyle Riley, I think you actually want bumper grease in these cars because he's been wrecked more times this week than Carl Edwards in 2013.
It has been certainly that way as we look and see Garrison Hogan pick up here in the booth. He is 3 wide, but he is all by himself. And right in front of him there, you can see Kenny Brady started shotgun on the field all the way back in the 43rd position. Kenny Brady, who had a chance to win last night, led into 3 and 4 on the final lap, ends up losing that race. Will Klein takes the money, takes the point, so that's how Kenny Brady was able to race his way into tonight's FTF Bar Visuals 500. But Kenny Brady early on trying to get to the front.
Still side by side for the lead. Now, it's worth noting there are stages in the FTF Cup Series this year. So tonight, stage 1 will end after lap 50, or at lap 50, I should say. Stage 2 ends at lap 100, and then they go all the way to the end to lap 200. But man, Jake Poulin just driving absolutely out of his mind. I don't know how he's able to keep that car in one piece the way that thing is handling, but he sure is showing what kind of a wheel man he is. Doesn't work for iRacing for no reason. But back up front, Derek Justice with a big push from, it looks like the 004 of J.D. Willis. They're hooked up on the top there. Bottom line isn't really hooked up, so expect Justice to have the lead coming off the turn 4.
And Derek Justice is just pinching that bottom lane, and Eric Smith right there, he knows the game. He's going to get a nice shove here as Spencer Burns tries to rally the troops up top. He's got help from Kenny Brady. They're wasting no time with a big head of steam. 2 teammates. They're going to challenge for the top spot now. They're all the way to the front. Here they come up top. Spencer Burns is getting a trunk full from Kenny Brady. Derek Justice, I thought, was going to be the leader. The battle is on. 3 by 3, 2 rows deep at the front of the field. Blake McCandless.
Absolutely shot out of a cannon. Kenny Brady, Spencer E. Burns rocketing to the front of the field out of seemingly nowhere, but it's not going to last very long. I don't think Brady has to cool off the engine of his Ford Mustang. Burns is going to fall back just a little bit, but my goodness, the power that two-car tandem had is something that I think we're going to learn a lot about later on in this race. As Justice now, he'll clear the middle lane. He's going to go to the point, but the run that Burns and Brady just got, I think that's a telltale sign for what we might see later on in this race.
Gonna note that away for later on. Some of these guys they saw that run, but go figure, their engine starts to heat up at the worst possible time, so that negates any progress they made. But that third car up there is starting to get up there. That's Garrison Hogan. We just mentioned him. Jordan's pick.
That's my pick.
Jumps up to the top side. He looks to join them, but it's going to be a while before they can be in any contention. But look at the two teammates here. Derek Justice in the 31. I thought that was Corey Carpenter there. It's Eric Smith in the 009 on the bottom lane. He's going for the lead, but here comes the third lane again with a second head of steam as they head down off of turn 4.
And it looked like J.D. Willis was trying to get up there, trying to get in front of Spencer Burns, but the momentum was just too strong. And I believe what's helping that very outside lane tandem do it, they're not really pushing that hard on the bottom and middle lanes here, and these guys on the very top are able to just shove as much as they can, and they're able to get that momentum. They have to have at least a third car up there to make some real headway, where they're challenging now for the second row again. Spencer Burns and Kenny Brady up there, but another tight battle down below them as Derek Justice comes up to cover. Oh, that's an aggressive block. Here comes J.D. Willis to the middle. He cannot get his nose there, so Derek Justice is not coming to play now. He is covering all the lanes at Daytona.
You know, this is reminiscent of what we saw yesterday. Tyler Gary defending from the race lead. And, of course, like you mentioned, we do have stages in this race, but we will not have cautions come out after those stages complete. So we'll hand out the points, but we'll keep on going if we're under green. Also, if there is a caution within 5 laps of the end of a stage, we will race back, let the top 10 race back, and then we will throw the caution. That'll be the end of the stage. So otherwise, we will continue to race through, but the aggressive moves by Derek Justice up here early on, very similar to what we saw with Tyler Gary yesterday. We saw how that worked out for Gary.
Man, I got to tell you guys, I'm looking through the field here, and I'm seeing another guy just knifing his way through the back of the pack here. The 53 of Justin Malillo, just absolutely making everyone seem like they're standing still back here. He's so fast, he's got to run that middle line to stay on pace with everybody, or he just blow right by him. But Justin currently sitting in the 39th position, just past Kevin McAdams. And we mentioned, guys, just how fast McAdams was at the beginning. Justin passed him without any help. So look for that 53 to be up there often at the end of this race as they head down through 1 and 2 here, Sam.
You know, keep an eye on these guys in the back. I wonder if they might, try to employ some kind of different pit strategy because of how far back they are. I don't think they have much of an interest in going racing compared to these guys up here in the front. So keep an eye on that. Maybe pit a couple laps early, make it to the stage. But remember, there is no caution on the stage break, so that might throw a monkey wrench into everything. As we go on board here, looking back at a very empty Daytona behind the onboard shot we have here. Nothing much really brewing as they come off turn 4, coming to lap 21 at the line.
Well, we were talking about it being empty, but I see a snarling pack directly behind the lap traffic of Jake Poulin. We were mentioning that he wanted to play this safe, but unfortunately he is going to lose a lap. Perhaps was kind of betting on the fact that we may see an accident in the first 20 laps, but we've seen some hard racing, but for the most part, it's been pretty clean. Haven't seen any close incidents as of late. So Jake Poulin, the lone car that has gone a lap down, of course he would have the lucky dog should we get a caution, and they're almost bringing one out at the front of the field. Eric J. Smith gets a shot. Here comes Spencer Burns looking for the race lead.
Spencer Burns finally gets to the middle line. He and Kenny Brady are able to get there. As we mentioned, Kenny Brady able to race his way in from the Tiny Tex 500K last night, finishing second. But as you mentioned, Will Klein decides to take the cash and run, so that opens a slot for Kenny Brady to get in. And look at these guys in the back here. There you see Chris Wetz in the 71 right there. He is just, I mentioned Kevin McAdams and Justin Malillo, but Chris Wetz is another guy we got to look out for. He's sitting right behind Taylor Morgans. Taylor, one of the most successful drivers on the NR version of this league, but those two guys are going to be players to watch at the end of this race. We heard they have very fast cars during this one, and Sam, I wouldn't be surprised if those two were dominating up front towards the end of this thing.
Yeah, and I think we're going to see a lot of comers and goers in this race. A lot of the guys at the front right now are going to show their muscle, but a lot of these guys in the back, I have this weird feeling are going to come up and tear some shit up, Sean. I think it's just going to be a meeting of the, what'd you call it, a meeting of the masses, I think, if that's the right word. But anyhow, I think we'll see some interesting players at this race up front, though. It's Eric Smith. Now, Michael Guest is Derek Justice is trying to go on the apron into turn 1. I don't know if that's the way to do it, as Michael Guest takes over the point in turns 1 and 2.
Well, I think Justice trying to go low to cool off the nose of that Toyota, get the temperatures down so he can go up and push Eric J. Smith in what was a battle for the race lead. Now move to 74, Michael Guest up there. A big wiggle out of Kenny Brady directly behind Spencer Burns. Here about sends himself around in front of the pack. So Kenny Brady and Burns, we've seen how aggressive they have been at the front of this field when it's come to pushing, and I just don't know if we can see this keep up for another about 180 laps.
It is very early on, Blake. So we're coming down almost at 25 to go in stage 1, almost halfway through stage 1. And you got, again, different strategies here. You got all these guys at the front trying to race for the stage points, but also the guys at the further back, they're looking at the big picture. They want to win this race in order to etch their name in the history books to pick up the first FTF Cup Series win on iRacing. But down the back straightaway, Spencer Burns with a big shot by Kenny Brady. He's going to go to the bottom side to take the lead, cool that 6 car off, but put the 006 right to the point here in turns 3 and 4.
Yeah, the Penn State product, Spencer Burns, is now out front. Michael Guest immediately pops back out to the outside lane. Burns kind of hits the apron in turns 3 and 4 there. Guest gets up alongside him. He's going to take the lead. So give that lap lead right here to Michael Guest by that much, probably a splitter length, as Guest challenges alongside of him. But I want to take a moment to point out something here. Brian Mercurio is having a career run in 15th. He started a career best 11th in FTF, up to 15th for him, or back to 15th. He's just hanging on for dear life. I think he's going to be a weapon at the end of this thing.
Well, you know, Brian Mercurio, also a former champion of the FTF Cup Series, so it wouldn't be a shocker to see him up front and playing here late in the going, currently riding in 15th, along with a handful of drivers that have really just kind of tucked in line on the bottom of the racetrack. You could really see about for those first 6 rows or so, we see double file battling up front as we have throughout all of Speedweeds. Otherwise, everyone's single file, just, I think, trying to get to green flag pit stops. You see Caden Rush poke the nose of his DeWalt Power Tools Ford back down to the bottom, but for the most part, it's too wide up front, and then everybody just kind of patiently waiting this thing out as here comes Kenny Brady to the inside of Michael Guest as they go 3 wide off the corner.
They're looking to manage that, but 2 guys looking to make their way up to the front right now. David Shieldhouse in the 20 and Gary Waterworth in the 12. They leapfrogged about 5 or 6 cars through turns 1 and 2 to move their way into the 17th and 18th positions. Gary Waterworth not wasting any time in that 12 car. He's going right to the front, and he's passing all these guys by himself on the outside, showing the speed in that 12 car. So Gary's going to be up there before he knows it, and Shieldhouse tucks in line. But right now, it's Spencer Burns leading this lap across the line.
Okay, Gary Waterworth sporting the old Bradshaw Motorsports style car. From my guesstimate there. Keep an eye on him to come through the field here. Is now, looks like we got a couple more players coming up to the front here. Garrett Conrad trying to show his colors. David Shieldhouse is another one. You know David's going to have to get up here and get rough and rowdy with him at some point. Down the backstretch, though, Kenny Brady started 43rd on the field. He's getting a nice shove from Caden Rush. He's got a nose out in front at the end of the back straightaway. Hopefully he can draw even here and get a lap lead. I think that would be another one for the history books for a car starting dead last on the field, getting to the lap in the first 30 laps of the race.
That is certainly quite an accomplishment for Kenny Brady, who perhaps is trying to learn some lessons perhaps from yesterday after he gave up the win leading into 3 and 4 on the final lap. And Will Klein, of course, won in an absolute stunner yesterday in what was an incredible 120-lap shootout. But Brady right now side drafting Spencer Burns on the bottom side of the track as 2 drivers that for the most part have worked with each other to get to the front now lead each respective line.
Now, another guy to pay attention to up here in the front part of the field is the 117 of Dalton Cowden. Haven't mentioned him much, but he was a late entry to this race because of the absence of Matt Adams, our outside pole sitter. But he's worked his way up. He had to start dead last in the field for someone. He's worked his way up to 7th in the top 10 as we got a car on the inside. Blake Reynolds just showing the muscle, goes right down below the apron all the way to the entrance of pit road and passes Evan Brinker. I tell you what, man, I think McLaren supplied the engine for Blake tonight because that was just an absolute power move as they head into turn 1.
Yeah, Blake Reynolds, the newly signed McLaren driver, left Team Dillon Esports in the eNASCAR Coca-Cola iRacing Series, trying to show a little bit of a preseason flex there. They've got their race coming up, I think it's tomorrow night or Tuesday night. I think I should know because I spot in the series.
Wow.
So I'm doing a great job there. But, you know, keeping an eye on him this year. A couple of these guys in this series, Very professional drivers on iRacing, at least in their minds. At least, I'm just kidding. But off turn 4, Spencer Burns still shows the way.
Spencer Burns still out front here. You see Derek Justice in line behind him. Of course, you see back there on the inside. Also, Brad Wright has worked his way up into the top 5 at the very front of this field. Of course, another teammate along there with Derek Justice. So a couple of NFR colored machines have hooked up here at the front of this field. However, it is still a large part of what we've seen throughout this race. Long line on the inside, single file, with about 6 or 7 cars making up that second lane. They have not let up. Eric J. Smith at the front of this line, still trying all he can to get out in front of Spencer Burns.
A little bit further towards the back, we mentioned a couple guys coming up through the field. Get a load of Corey Carpenter and Taylor Morgans, those 2 cars on the outside. Again, Morgan's a multiple-time series champion on NR, looking to make his claim on iRacing. And right now he's got a mirror full of Corey Carpenter as they climb their way through the field. Look at this. Look at the power of those 2 cars just going by everyone on the inside like they're standing still. Move them into the top 30.
And a big power moves from the rear of the field here. It's quite strung out. We got guys at the front that are not really pushing the issue. I think the temperatures have kind of gotten a little too hot there to do anything. You got guys in the back that are going to make a charge here on the bar visuals FTF 500 presented by Bottom Split. But you got the first 8 rows here evenly spaced out as Jordan is trying to play a mind game with everybody here on the broadcast. Up front, though, still Spencer Burns as they work to the tri-oval.
Still Spencer Burns, but of course you see the laps continuing to click off here very quickly. 32 laps here already. The FTF Bar Visuals 500 presented by Bottom Split. But we are getting close already to that fuel window. Throughout Speed Weeks, it's been anywhere between about 36 to 38 laps is typically when you'll see drivers start to make their way onto pit road. And we are quickly approaching that mark here to start this race. So could we see green flag pit stops already through our first run?
Big shout out to 100 Proof guy in the chat. How we doing, Dan? Thanks for hanging out with us, man. Glad you're here. But I hope you're enjoying this race. The FTF Bar Visuals 500 presented by Bottom Split. There is a $3,000 purse for this. Now, you don't win $3,000 if you win. You just get your share. $500 to the winner. But like we said, big money on the line for this race nonetheless. And right now we got a big duel at the front. Look at Eric Smith, clear Kenny Brady. What do you got there, Jordan? What you got?
I just want to let everybody know the wind is coming out of the north at 1 mile an hour.
Look at all those fun facts right there. You got a bunch of stuff up there.
Oh, man. Hey, we are up to 1% humidity.
I've been watching that.
Wow.
We were at 0 to start the race, but the humidity is starting to creep in here to Central Florida. We're at 1% right now with these clear skies. Clear and sunny in Daytona Beach, Florida.
Amazing.
Sunny.
Hello.
Sunny. Facts.
Sunny. You want to talk about the beach? Let's talk about Cafe Con Leche.
Okay.
Home of the best Cuban sandwich in America.
It really is. If you're going to be in Daytona next, well, I guess it's 2 weekends from now. Go to Cafe Con Leche. It's in South Daytona on Ridgewood Avenue. It's a fantastic Cuban sandwich. I'm going there for every day I'm in Daytona. So
You want to go after the race?
4 consecutive days I'm
race.
going there.
Let's go after this race.
The Cafe Con Leche is in the most perfect spot because any good food joint that's not a chain is in a building you wouldn't think would be
Right.
good food.
You'll
can
drive
get your
by
taxes-
it and
get your taxes done, get your nails done, and you'll get a Cuban.
You're gonna drive by it and be like, "What the hell? Why is this guy, recommending this?" Just trust me. And they have Jupina, gaseosa de pina, pineapple soda.
Now, when I go there after the race and I don't like it, I'm
Sean,
bringing my complaints
listen,
directly to you.
that's not my problem.
Listen.
Oh, here we go.
Listen, I don't like mustard. I don't even remember what half is on that Cuban sandwich. I don't like part of it. And I ate it, and I just sat there and was in shock that it was that good.
It's fantastic. I'm gonna look it up.
You were in
Change
shock that
it
you
will
were
change
eating?
your world.
Oh, man. All right, I guess back to the race here. There's a couple things happening right now. We have a new leader. How about Dalton Cowden? Again, as I mentioned, started dead last in the race tonight. There it is. There's Cafe Con Leche. It is looking that spot that you really wouldn't
Yep.
think.
There's the track,
Okay.
and there it
Get your
is.
taxes done.
Cafe Con Leche.
That is the place right there.
Right there.
Excellent.
Right there.
Right there. So as I was saying, Garrett Conrath now takes
Right
the
there.
lead. Dalton Cowden
Right
takes
there.
the bottom side. But look at Conrad for that 900 machine, that Nexus Esports Ford Mustang with a big shot from Michael Guest. Sam, I think they're going to be in the lead by a lot down the back.
Yeah, they're getting a nice little shove here. I mean, they are just absolutely getting after it here. Conrad's clear. Here comes Michael Guest. He's clear. But, oh, Gary Waterworth, I thought he was going to dive. Yes, he's clear. He's going to go to the bottom lane. Michael Guest sticking to the outside lane here as he's going to have help. Oh, they got a little tight right there. Gary Waterworth. That almost got ugly right there, folks. So Michael Guest stays outside, almost gets turned by Gary Waterworth at the line. It's Garrett Conrad clicking off his first lap lead of the event.
Garrett Conrath goes to the point here at Daytona, but you have to imagine here a mass exodus here to the bottom side of the racetrack. Just about 2, 3, maybe 4 cars in total right now riding along the outside line. I think this is when you're going to start to see it, and we'll hear through the in-game radio communications here in the next lap or two if we start to see drivers heading on to pit road, and I believe that is going to be the case. We may see our first round of green flag pit stops, this time off of turn 4.
And Gary Waterworth claims they are pitting right now, so look for that 12 to be ducking in, and the window is going to be open. Here comes a couple drivers, Dalton Cowden and Waterworth right now, the only two. But Leighton Subile, the
oh, and Waterworth blows through pit road. Taking books out of the page of Will Klein, but it looks like Dalton Cowden is going to be able to get here to clear. I'm sitting right here where he's pulling down to pit road. You have to imagine there's not going to be a whole lot happening here. Just a quick pit stop for here. He's actually going to lift up the right sides, put right side Goodyear Eagles on. It looks like 2 full cans of Sunoco racing fuel going in. He is not going after stage points, but unfortunately Gary Waterworth gets in, but it looks like Cowden is down in the way.
And I've been on the horn with Leighton Subile, the crew chief for the 94 of Jacob Fishers. Here comes the whole front of the field. Everyone, the leaders. Garrett Conrath locks up. Eric J. Smith spins on
a save!
Saves it.
Oh, no! Kenny Brady's hit the inside wall.
Kenny Brady hits the inside wall. Everyone has to scatter around him. That is a tough break for Kenny Brady to race his way in. But that's another casualty at pit road as numerous drivers overshoot Blake McCandless.
Oh, they're having a tough time in here getting in their pit boxes. Taylor Morgan's overshot his pit box. Of course, Brady was the first one on pit road. It looks like that is the most calls that we've seen down here. 2 Goodyear Eagles, 2 full cans of Sunoco racing fuel. And again, this stage ends in about 11 laps.
Off of turn number 4, Brandon Hawken is going to assume the lead, and here they come. This front group now should be the last of the pit stops. Look at Ryan Doucette trying to make his way. Look at him as he locks up 4 wide onto the entrance of pit road. That nearly didn't work out, but they somehow, Sam Watson, keep it all together.
I'm down here with the Eddie Kerner machine. It sounded like they were going to go for 2 tires. They're going to have to go to 4 tires now because he locked them all up on pit road entry there. An aggressive pit entry by Eddie Kerner. They come back around to the left side. 4 tires and fuel in that car. They're going to pack it full of Sunoco racing fuel, and he's going to get down and away as we take a look at that pit entry.
Unbelievable stuff. Watch this. We are currently sitting on board with Eddie Ball. Makes up a lot of time. Nearly gets in. Look at that. Nearly hits the inside wall. Now we got to see if he didn't get speeding or not. But regardless, what an incredible pit entry there by Eddie Kerner and the Eddie Ball 98. And it looks like, Sam, he is good to go off the pit lane.
Yeah, I believe that was a close call there for Eddie Kerner, but an amazing pit entry. That took a lot of testicular fortitude to get that done, and a lot of these guys aggressively attacked the pit lane and got away with it, so that's going to help them, obviously, on pit exit for Eddie Kerner, but a chaotic pit entry that they sorted out, and they're all coming off turn number 2, getting up to full song down the back straightaway.
Well, you could see the large advantage that it gets for Eddie Kerner, but he's going to run into the same problem that Tyler Gary had yesterday. Is the 92 of Ethan Kurtz is slowing off the pace. Perhaps he ran out of fuel. Something went amiss, or perhaps the engine expired on that machine. We stay under the green flag, but right now Eddie Kerner got such a lead, he just lost it, and he's already in 5th by the time we work it around to the stripe. So Eddie Kerner got such a good launch into pit road. They actually came out too far in front of the pack. You see 3 cars are able to easily drive by him. That's Michael Guest, Derek Justice, and the machine of Spencer Burns to make up your top 3.
I'll tell you what happened to Ethan. He came in the pits, but he never actually pitted, I don't think.
He missed the
telling
stall,
me
yeah.
He hasn't pitted yet, so he is out of fuel.
Yep, so I watched that whole thing as Ethan was coming through. I noticed he was the first one off of pit road, and there's no other explanation as he missed his stall. So that is probably going to be an early blow to his race. As ever see, Andrew Schwartz is the last car to come off of pit road in the 67. He's all by himself. Right. He's still the last one coming off a pit road.
Okay,
Well, I
well-
guess when Ethan comes down there.
Yeah, but he had a penalty.
Right. But that's going to make him for sure lose a lap, as we got a bunch of other guys back here that have lost the draft. There you see Gary Waterworth in the 12, Garrett Mashburn right there, as we saw on the screen. But back up front, they've cycled out, and Michael Guest in the 74 has reassumed the lead. Derek Justice second, Spencer Burns third, Brandon Hawkin fourth, and Eddie Kerner with that fantastic pit entry comes out in sixth. And guys, we are about at 7 or 8 laps to go now to the end of stage 1.
Yeah, coming up on the end of the first stage, we have not seen a stage ever in FTF racing history, so we're going to see how it pans out. If it's anything like real life, the intensity level is going to get up just a little bit to get those points. Might even see a little bit of calamity as we got one car peeling off the back of the lead pack here. I cannot tell who that is. That's Brian Mercurio, my pick. He's got to come in. I believe that's a penalty to serve on that number 41 machine. But expect the intensity level to come up just a little bit here, I believe, coming to this first stage. It's points on the line. It can help you if you get crashed out of this race.
Perhaps it can, but to chronicle the full list of names that had issues on the pit road, of course, Brian Mercurio, Ethan Kurtz ran out of fuel. Taylor Morgan's lost a ton of time after overshooting his pit box. Garrett Mashburn also had issues getting onto pit road. And, of course, now you see the race leaders going around, both John Poole and Eric J. Smith, that obviously had some issues. Perhaps they sped onto pit road. Actually, John Poole is going to let the field go on by, but Eric J. Smith...
Front straightaway, Garrett Conrath is involved. Big wreck as they get turned going into the tri-oval. And our first caution is out here in the Bar Visuals FTF 500. Couple cars involved, but a big accident going into the tri-oval just before the end of the stage.
And it looked like, Sean, it was a reaction from the car on the bottom lane as they checked up right there. A chain reaction crash right there. That's going to take a couple guys out of this race. Garrett Conrath had a strong machine. I saw him. I didn't really see the whole wreck, but I noticed that Conrath was caught up in it pretty hard. But a unfortunate event coming to the start-finish line here on lap 44 of the FTF 500.
And on the replay here, it looks like we're going to watch the 39 of Arnold Columbia, as it looks like there's a big checkup on the bottom lane. He gets turned by the 117 of Dalton Cowden, and unfortunately, J.D. Willis and company were just along for the ride. Here we're on board with Arnold Columbia. Watch the cars ahead. There's going to be a big checkup going into the tri-oval. And there you see the lap car, people overreacting, and Columbia hits the brakes, and pretty much everyone behind him doesn't. And that sends him into the outside retaining wall. Maybe not too much damage on the 39. He might be able to get it fixed and salvage some points, but Blake, definitely not what you wanted to see coming to the end of the first stage.
No, absolutely not. And really, the catalyst for all of this was that lap car that was pulling low to try to let the rest of the field by. Eric J. Smith was a part of that kind of lap car tango, and Poole was right in front of those drivers. He pulled off. I don't think Smith was expecting it, so Smith checks up. And then, of course, as we well know, an accordion effect all the way through, and just whoever was behind Arnold Columbia there, it was Dalton Cowden, just did not see the checkup in time before he just ran right over the driver of the 39, but some tough damage for Garrett Conrath. It looks like Knobloch got some damage out of it as well. J.D. Willis, a couple of cars able to shoot on by. I think Corey Carpenter may have gotten a little bit of damage as he did some nice maneuvers to try and work his way around. But as we're coming to the end of this stage, a lot of drivers pull off here and will top off on fuel.
That's Edley Sam Watson. You've been hearing the radios down there for this big chunk of group in pit road. What's been the common theme you're hearing down there?
A lot of these guys were just talking about how their cars are driving really good. I mean, the weather conditions are not really adversely affecting them at all. Really no headwind or tailwind. A lot of these guys just came out here for just top off on gas. I think that's the real key here. But my calculations, I believe these guys will make it to roughly lap 90 in the ballpark of that, just a little short, but keep an eye on that. So maybe a couple guys come out here, splash them again. Chad Knaus was talking about it on the radio, the 75 car, Ryan Doucette. So, you know, the strategy game might come out here for the second stage, because you just saw, I believe actually, Sean, well, no, it will not. This will be a green-white checker for the first stage.
Should be coming green with about 3 laps to go in stage 1. So we'll go over the field really quick to get you up to speed. Michael Guest leads it. Derek Justice was shown in second, so he's got a couple lap cars in between he and Guest. Spencer Burns is third. Brandon Hawkin is in fourth. Eddie Kerner fifth. Ryan Doucette is in sixth. Blake Reynolds seventh. Brad Wright in eighth. Colton Salick ninth. David Schildhaus will round out the top 10. So it's going to be interesting to see under this caution, guys. If any other drivers come in to top off, and here come the lap cars, they're looking to come in and get an extra splash of gas in their vehicles. But it looks like for the most part, everyone stays out, and One car ducks in behind them as well. That's Corey Carpenter. So he's going to come in and top off from the 12th position. But right now, guys, top 10 stays the same. But it looks like all these guys are vying for some stage points here, Sam.
Yeah,
Well,
and you had Blake.
Oh, well, sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off there, but one thing that was really interesting there, Michael Guest, the lone car that stayed out, there were a couple of cars that were looking to get back on the lead lap. John Poole, Andrew Schwartz, Jake Poulin, who were all trying to cycle back and get the wave around, but Guest stayed out. He was the only car to do so, and that trapped a bunch of cars who would have been put back on the lead lap one extra lap down.
What I was going to make note of here, Sean, is that when I said this is going to be a green-white checker, before the race started, we were given a note by the FTF admin saying that if there was a caution within 5 laps of the stage ending, they were going to let the leaders race back around to the line, and that would conclude the stage. But this caution fell just 1 lap short of that, so we're going to have not a green-white checker, but a couple lap dash here for these points. So I think this is going to get real interesting here. I don't know about you guys.
Absolutely. So we should be going green here on lap 47. The field is on the 1-to-go signal right now. Sam Watson sold his GME shares. Why'd you do that, Sam?
Well,
it's not good. Are you pandering to the billionaires
What
now,
a
Sam?
jackass.
Man, I tell you what, though, these drivers, as somebody who has raced in the Cup Series for a long time with stages in this format, I can tell you that these next couple of laps are going to look like we're racing for all the points, all the money right now. So for somebody that's won a handful of stages in this league, you're about to see what essentially is going to look like a race to lap 50 for the checkered flag.
Here we go. Green flag is out. Michael Guest and Derek Justice will lead them. They're coming to 4 laps to go in stage 1 as they cross the start-finish line. Guest with the lead. Justice on the outside. Spencer Burns with a big push to Michael Guest through 1 and 2. They get that nose of the 74 out front as they make their way through 1 and 2 side by side for second.
as Michael Guest gets a really good shove from Spencer Burns. Burns gets clear of the 0-6 machine. He's going to possibly go to the middle lane off the corner here. He's got help from Eddie Kerner. Now here comes Burns to the outside lane. He's going to get the help. He wants the points. Coming back to 3 laps to go at the stage break. Here comes Spencer Burns on the outside lane. That Toyota Camry has help from Derek Justice off the end of the back straightaway.
And Spencer Burns trying to work the outside line there as he gets drafting help from Derek Justice. Of course, Guest is going to defend that inside line, but Burns trying to do all he can to rally the troops there on the high side. They are stacked 2 rows for about 10 rows deep.
2 rows deep from the lead on back. Eddie Kerner nearly had a big moment off of turn 4 there as he keeps that car going. But here comes Spencer Burns to the outside. Doesn't get the run he wants, 2 and 1. They're looking to reload on the top. Right now it's Michael Guest and Eddie Kerner 1-2 as they head down the back.
Yeah, that's going to get really tight here. Spencer Burns trying to draw down, use a little bit of the side draft, even though it's maybe not be as effective on iRacing as it is in real life. He's up for second now. Michael Guest still holding strong on the bottom. Eddie Kerner up there in the mix as well. And now the 89 car of Brandon Hawkins trying to make his presence known for the first time today.
Coming to 2 laps to go. Again, if we get a caution flag before the end of the stage, we'll race back to the green-white checkered. Michael Guest will take it this time across the tri-oval. 2 laps to go for the first stage in iRacing FTF Cup Series history. Right now, Spencer Burns with just a nose as they head into the banking in 1 and 2.
But Spencer Burns and Derek Justice get disconnected on the top. That's going to let the bottom rally back. Eddie Kerner with a big push to Michael Guest off of turn 2. Down the back straightaway. Kerner might be trying to get himself clear to the top. Car's a little bit overheating, so he's going to have to back off. Guest will block the top lane, checks up the top. He might have to go back down. Guest running the middle lane, goes back down to block Kerner as they're coming to the white flag in stage 1.
Coming to the white flag, Michael Guest wants that stage win to get a little extra bonus points, but Spencer Burns might want it more. He goes up. Guest comes to cover the spot. Derek Justice staggers off the rear bumper of Burns. White flag in the air. Here they come. Eddie Kerner all over the back of Michael Guest. Can he push him and get clear as they go back to turn 1?
And Michael Guest trying to make that car 2 lanes wide as he is jetting back and forth, trying to block the run from Eddie Kerner or Spencer Burns. I think Burns is going to have a good head of steam here off of turn 2. Derek Justice with the shove. Guest can't go high to block. They're side by side here as they work down the Daytona Super Stretch.
Guest tries to side draft Eddie Kerner back there, trying to give him a push, but clear Spencer Burns to the lead through 3 and 4. A big shot from Guest coming, pushes him in the corner. Off turn 4, the back end stepping out of the 06. Here comes Guest to the outside, to the checkered flag for stage 1. It's a drag race. It's going to be at the line. It's going to be Michael Guest, I believe, by a couple of feet. And again, no cautions here in FTF. We stay green, but man, what an end to the very first stage in iRacing FTF history.
Michael Guest wanted those stage points, and he, by God, got them and almost wrecked about 20 cars with him. Derek Justice was just shoving him on corner exit. Blake Reynolds decides to bail out back there. He got his points, and he wants to get the hell out of there. Michael Guest, your leader. Derek Justice along the outside getting a shove from Brandon Hawken at the end of the back straightaway.
And the list of drivers who end up collecting stage points, of course, Michael Guest will get the bonus playoff point and the 10 points for the stage win. Spencer Burns in second, Derek Justice third. Eddie Kerner finished in fourth, Ryan Doucette fifth. Brandon Hawken brings it home sixth. Blake Reynolds, he bailed out after finishing stage one in seventh. Eighth goes to Brad Wright. Colton Salick finished in ninth, and David Schildhouse collected the final point in stage one.
David Schildhouse barely getting his way into the points in stage one. So now that stage one is over, they get to take a little break here. The next stage two doesn't end until lap 100 is complete. So we might see these guys start to take it easy. I say that, and here's Brad Wright in the 88 going 3 wide on Brandon Hawken with a push from Dylan Alt. They're fighting for third, but right now it's Spencer Burns and Guest out front 1-2.
The front two rows have just kind of calmed down, but there's a really hard battle. It was, Eddie Kerner takes a dive to the bottom, and a lot of guys react to that. You've got 2 rows of 3 wide racing back there. Now here comes for the lead. It's the number 89 of Brandon Hawken. He's had enough of riding around. He wants to get up there. He's clear to the middle lane. Will he take it? He tries to bring along the outside lane there. I believe that is the number 88 of Brad Wright, as he's now hung on the outside lane, the very only car up there 3 wide.
And Brad Wright awfully lonely there on the top side. He's got no drafting help anywhere around him, but here comes the momentum from Brandon Hawken. Does he look to go to the third lane? He'll tuck in line with Eddie Kerner there in the second lane. Michael Guest, Ryan Doucette, and of course, right behind them is Ty Bass. Haven't mentioned his name too much tonight, but right now he works third in that bottom lane.
Ty Bass started 27th tonight. He finds himself in the top 5, so a good trek through the field for Ty Bass. Give that last lap lead to Eddie Kerner, as he's got a big mirror full of Brandon Hawken on the front straightaway for the lead into turn number 1. So a lot of these guys starting to calm down up at the front of the field as we saw the mad dash for the stage win. And I say that back in the pack here, there's 3 wide as they're making their way through the field. That's the 117 of Dalton Cowden. Again, if you remember, he was the cause of that last caution. So that's going to put him further back in the field. He's trying to make his way back up, but the front of the field still duking it out as it's still Kerner with the lead, but here comes Michael Guest with a run on the bottom.
Eddie Kerner had to leave his dual race because he had a baseball meeting to attend, and I don't think that's affected him one bit. The Eddie Ball machine showing the point on the outside lane. He has help from Brandon Hawken, but the bottom lane comes charging back here. 5 cars on the outside lane up in the lead group here, and I believe that's Jake Poulin back about 8 car lengths trying to make a charge. I think he's going to try to get that lap back by himself as the field goes through turns number 1 and 2.
Well, you have to remember, he's at least racing for a lucky dog spot. He would be the recipient of that, but of course, that's considering he would have to avoid the accident that would come out to bring out that caution. But for now, he rides just 1 spot, perhaps a car length in front of Gary Waterworth. As he looks in front of him, he sees 3 wide at the front of this pack for 2 rows behind the front 2 rows. Here comes Ethan Kurtz. He was just out of fuel. He's trying to get his lap back as he's making that third lane work with Eric Smith.
Jordan, thank you about reminding us to consider Davies Doobies. Hope everyone takes the time to consider that. But
I feel like about 55 laps in is a good time.
The Surgeon General recommend Davies Doobies.
Yes.
Oh, it's getting tight up at the top, guys. The 92. Look at him go. That's, of course, the 92, I believe. That's Ethan Kurtz with a big push from Eric Smith. They're 3 wide for the lead. And how about this run by Ethan Kurtz as he goes to the front and clears everybody into 3?
Ethan Kurtz. Did I miss something?
What do you say you crank it up for a lap or 2?
Yeah.
The camera angles really match the sound.
Sounds like we're trying to listen to it underwater. I don't know what happened to that. It's getting lower and lower. What are you...
All right, I got nothing.
Are you cranking it down as we're getting...
Ah, there's the camera.
And then we're back to being underwater.
Are you just making it worse?
Can I
Welcome to the
complain?
Shark Lounge.
Can I complain about the people in the chat complaining about me not using static cams for that? That's the joke, dumbasses!
The joke? I just think it's poor camera work.
Man! Oh, you gotta use a static cam! Oh, they almost wrecked right there.
It's literally a camera that's a default camera pack in here.
Now it just sounds quiet.
Yeah, Jordan is lazy. What a doofus.
Oh, whatever.
I'd like to throw the term doof. I'm going to throw it back at a doofus.
Whatever.
Doofus Jordan is. But meanwhile, back on schedule here, we do have a battle for the lead, as we've seen Ethan Kurtz in that 92 still holding strong with a push from Eddie Kerner. But look who else is up there.
He's not going for the lead, though. He's 2 laps down trying to get one of his laps back.
I mean, he's leading the field right now.
Okay, when you
isn't
say
he?
he's going for the lead, as in he just led that lap, but that's not the case.
I didn't think I had to specify that.
Yeah, you kind of need to.
Oh my God! Well, look at Ethan clears everybody. So the leader, notice I didn't say leader, is still Michael Guest in the 74. But look at him try to push Ethan Kurtz out, maybe using him as a, I guess, a proverbial guinea pig to get away from the field. But as I was saying, look at Ryan Doucette, our pole sitter. He gets to the front and he's going to the back now.
And, you know, I wonder if Ethan Kurtz is trying to make a deal with somebody to say, hey, man, if you'll push me, we might control these lanes, catch a caution. He gets a nice, as I noted earlier, the Chevrolet Camaro nose just got him a little loose, and that's going to throw what I was going to say completely out the window. Ethan Kurtz is about to get gobbled up as his help is now off his back bumper, now back to him, but it's going to be allowing the outside lane to roll here down the front stretch.
Outside line starting to pick up some momentum as they barrel off into turn number 1. Again, working lap 59. Oh, a big wiggle out of Michael Guest as he put his nose on the double yellow line for just a moment. Of course, if you haven't been keeping up with speed weeks here, that is completely in bounds. Michael Guest can go underneath that double yellow line, or anybody can, and make a pass should they so choose. There is no yellow line rule in this race. We've seen it come into effect as we look at this amazing battle for 36th. Here's Arnold Columbia just killing the pack right here.
He has nothing in his rear view. He's got nothing to worry about. He's just cruising. You know, he did sustain damage in that first wreck, and you hate to see that. But, you know, he's just chilling right now. He's just kind of chilling back there, just chilling. You know, he's chilling. There he is, just chilling. But let's get who else can we get an update on? Let's get a Cosmignona shoe update. We haven't really heard much about him in the 84. No, he's just chilling right there as well, just chilling in his bar visual scheme, just chilling there in that Mustang. I'm going to stop saying that. But back up front, Michael Guest still leads, but leader of the pack right now is Ethan Kurtz as they head into 3.
Ethan Kurtz still showing the point, even though he is not on the lead lap. He is up here fighting for everything he can, hoping for a caution. I don't think he'll get one just now, as the outside lane still has Eddie Kerner leading it. David Schildhaus has popped on the scene, third on the inside lane, so keep an eye on him. He might try to get up here and lead some laps and get the virtual crowd rolling, rocking and rolling as they work through the trial over here. So lap 63 on the board here. Nothing much brewing, but, you know, that can change in an instant here at Daytona as they go to the south end of the speedway.
Wait, how do you know it's the south end? Do you carry a compass with you?
Because I go there every year.
But what's that got to do with you knowing the direction?
I'm geographically.
I play GeoGuessr a lot.
And ladies and gentlemen are standing up out of their seats as David Schildhaus at the front of the pack. David looking to try and take the lead here at Daytona. The crowd going absolutely crazy as David Schildhouse looks like he may have just had it at the line, loses it by just a nose to Michael Guest. But how about Davey Baby at the front of the field?
David Schildhouse joined us on our broadcast yesterday at the Tiny Text 500K, and he made a point to say he'll pick his spots when he's up at the front, and here he is. Look at this, giving a shot to Ethan Kurtz. That's very scary. He's got that pointed nose, as Sam has pointed out. But Ethan Kurtz has unlapped himself again, trying to unlap himself the hard way. But side by side with Michael Guest is still the leader. But side by side for second, it's Dylan Alt at Schildhouse as they make their way down the front.
Oh, they almost made contact off turn 4. That was Eric J. Smith and Eddie Kerner, and that just about ended both of their races. I think Smith missed the exit of the corner and just about got the sidewall, the Eddie Ball machine there on the outside lane. But Sean, I have one fear for Ethan Kurtz. I believe when push comes to shove here, I do not think these guys are going to play nice, and I think he's going to get put in a very volatile position at the front of this field here as they come off turn 2. Michael Guest shows the point. David Schildhouse up top trying to help Ethan Kurtz, and on the bottom it's Dylan Alt down the backstretch.
Dylan Alt starting to become a part of this battle up here. We mentioned his name a couple of times, but obviously trying to make his way forward in this race. I got to say, I'm surprised by a couple of the names that we've seen up here after everything that happened in Stage 1. Obviously, not too big of an accident that ended up ruining a lot of races. We raced back through to the end of Stage 1, but we are still just 66 laps in to this 200-lap race. Still a long ways to go. I'm surprised that a couple of names that I thought would be further towards the back of the pack, kind of patiently waiting things out, are kind of starting to run out of patience here and move on forward and try to battle up here to the front.
But look at this. Another car that's just up here trying to get his lap back is that 00 of Jake Poulin. We saw, I don't know what the heck he was doing at the beginning of the race, just kind of swerving everywhere, but right now he's actually looking like he's trying. He's one lap down. He's the first car one lap down right now. But actually, no, that's Ethan Kurtz now. So those two guys are vying to get their laps back the hard way. And Sam, you know as well as anyone does, because you're a lap down so many times at Daytona, it's hard to make up that lap under green.
Yeah, you know, Sean, and it's also hard to make up that lap under green when you wreck out on like lap 20 of the FTF Grand National Series race because you're just all over the damn track with a spec map on your car. But that's a conversation for another day. But yes, it's very hard to make these laps up here because there's just so many moving parts. If you're at a track like a Michigan and you have better tires and you have the right position, you can drive past the field and probably check out. Here at Daytona, we have that giant-ass spoiler on the back of the car, and it just, everybody kind of just comes back. It's like the cows just keep coming back. So you never know here at Daytona. If you get out front, you know what you're doing, you could do it and hold them off, but I think you're going to piss a lot of people off in that process.
Why are they cows?
You know, why don't we get somebody to talk to up here in the booth?
Let's get an ATC race break, please.
Hold on. I'm pulling someone up here because they're not doing anything. Kevin, you're not doing anything. How's your race going?
Well, Sean, we're just chilling back here with our compadre Justin Malillo. We're just watching the action up front. What are you guys doing?
I mean, I'm disappointed. You're my pick, and you're just chilling back there. You haven't gotten higher than 30th.
You gotta be there at the end, man. I'm hoping eventually, if we get green flag stops again, I can leapfrog some of these guys. I got an early pit entry, so I can just do a straight shot in there and then get out. So, well, we gained about 15 spots on that last pit sequence, and then the caution came out. So I'm back here again.
How long are you going to be? Can we expect to see up front anytime soon? You're just going to sit back there.
If I can get a good pit stop this next sequence, I'm going to go for stage points on the stage 2 break, lap 100. But if I'm like 25th again, I'm probably just going to chill back here as long as I can.
All right. Well, you're my pick, so don't let me down, okay? I'm counting on you.
I won that test race on pit strategy, so I'm hoping I can do the same tonight.
Hey, thank you, Kevin. Go get him out there.
Not yet.
Okay. So yeah,
Wow.
Sam, they're 3 wide right now. What are you seeing down there?
Well, I'm high atop the helicopter here that is going from the Turn 3 Sunoco stand to the press box here at Daytona. We got 2 rows of 3 wide action. Looks like Eric J. Smith is going to hop out of line. He said enough of this. He wants to get up here and get his hands dirty just a little bit. That's going to get a little tight right there. Dylan Alt's giving him a nice shove. That's going to clear Eric J. Smith for the moment. Will he get down and take it? No, he won't. Here comes the bottom charging back as Spencer Burns has lost his help up high. So a couple new familiar faces. That's a hell of a definition there, Sam. A couple new faces. Jake Poulin's up here second on the bottom lane. As they go down the backstretch, Eric J. Smith, your new leader.
Eric J. Smith now at the point in this field, but another driver that is up here battling. There's been a couple of cars that are either one lap down or two that are working hard to try to get back on the lead lap. And right now there's a pretty intense battle for the lucky dog going on up front between Gary Waterworth and Jake Poulin. As we look on board there, you can see in our wonderful FTF red zone view right there. How about Garrison Hogan just kind of vibing there? Running in the middle of
my pick.
11th. Yeah, just kind of chilling right there. But Gary Waterworth, Jake Poulin, they're shaking things up here at the front. And again, trying as much as they can to be in that lucky dog position should a caution come out behind them.
And you see these guys, there's actually 3 cars up here that are finding it back on the lead lap. Ethan Kurtz is 2 laps down, so he's got a ways to go before he can get back up there. But that doesn't mean he wants to get it back the hard way. Look at this, a big bobble by Jake Poulin in the 00 off of turn number 4. They're side by side with Gary Waterworth in the 12. Again, that is the battle for the lucky dog. So 2 races at the front within 5 cars of each other. But right now for the lead, Dylan Alt is looking forward as they head into turn 1.
Dylan Alt wanting to get his first lap led of the afternoon. He's got help up high from the 12 car there, Gary Waterworth. And is that Gary Waterworth? I hope it's Gary Waterworth.
It is.
Gary Waterworth up high there. He's getting a nice shove from him. As Michael Guess on the bottom still trying to fight back here. So we've got, two rows of these guys. There's nothing really crazy going on, but in 28 laps, I think we're going to have something happening as we're coming up on that stage very shortly.
Coming up on the stage here momentarily, but of course you also have to think about the fact that we went green on this run about 4 or 5 laps before the end of stage 1. So as we continue to work further into this stage, we're probably within about 8 or 9 laps of these cars starting to think about when they have to come down for green flag pit stops.
What do you got, Jordan?
We're on the phone with, they did the call Sam Watson. So we're on the phone with Sam Watson. Sam, go ahead. You're live on the air.
Well, Jordan, I'm just sitting here watching this broadcast. There's some guy that's doing a really lackluster job of talking about what's going on in the race. I think he's losing ideas. I think we're going to have to resort to some alcohol here. So, I don't know. He's not doing a good job. It's making me really want to drink. But this race is going pretty good. The guys back in the shop did a really good job preparing this Toyota Camry here. We got bar visuals on board, Slash Go graphics. It's purple, white, pink. It's a really good looking hot rod, and I think we got a really good shot to run up here at the end listening to this broadcast.
What are your pre-market moves for tomorrow morning?
I think buy Doge. I think we pump Doge up, we sell GameStop, and then we come in and we take Carnival Cruise Lines to the moon.
He is not a financial advisor, but he is giving you advice anyway. Thank you, Sam Watson, for the call.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Blake, why don't you give us an update on what's happening?
A race.
Oh, am I muted? Hang on. You got me?
Yeah, we got Blake.
Oh, hey.
you're just,
I can't hear you.
You're chilling there. I mean, what do you? Do you have any plans to go anywhere?
Up, Blake.
Yeah, I'm vibing right here. I'm saving some gas with Evan. He's my teammate. That's about it.
So you got a bunch of cars down there at Scuderia Viola. So are all you guys just kind of sitting there with the same mindset, just gonna ride for the whole thing?
Pretty much. Brandon's up there. I think Garrison is 2. That's just where they played out. But me and Evan are just sitting back here. That's kind of the goal. We're trying. What?
So out there in the chat, hashtag ask Blake, why do you sound like Bill Clinton?
Bill Clinton?
So whoa. Say I did not have sexual relations with that woman.
Oh my God.
I did not have sexual relations with that woman.
There you go.
That actually wasn't too bad.
No, I wasn't.
Oh,
right.
man.
Blake, I got a question for you.
Yeah.
What'd you have for dinner tonight?
I had a Jack's Pizza.
Oh.
What's a Jack's Pizza?
It's just a brand I like.
Any toppings?
I can only pepperoni. That's about it.
Nice. That's solid.
Yeah, it's pretty cheap. I find them at Walmart. That's it.
Thank you, Blake.
Oh, I also had it with an ice cold Coca-Cola.
Oh,
there you go. You got to sneak that in there.
In a McLaren.
In a McLaren too. You got to sneak
Yeah,
in the Coke Series sponsor. By the way, Blake, are you going to be streaming the race tomorrow night?
I figured out some technical difficulties tonight, and I just might. I'm streaming right now, actually.
Jordan, can you pull up Blake's stream and do what you did with Garrison?
Gonna pull him up.
So
Oh
it's
boy, here we go.
It's twitch.tv/Blake Reynolds 66.
Yep,
So
you're correct.
So you guys want to give him a follow, go ahead and do that. You can watch the race tomorrow night as well. Wait for it. It's coming. You got the multi-twitch up.
I'm working on it.
Yeah, we're
You're,
vibing.
you're doing a fine job, Jordan.
Thank you. I found him. There he is.
There he is.
Hey, we
There
got a
he
guy
is.
coming. The leader's coming to pit road here, guys.
That's
Blake.
perfect.
Thank you,
Just
Blake.
It's just Eric J. Smith. That
Blake,
doesn't
can you
matter.
give us a wave?
Oh, hi.
Oh,
He
there
did.
we
He
go.
gave us a
Okay.
wave. We saw the wave.
I meant like a wave, like they start the wave at like
Okay,
sporting.
all right.
I got
I
some
wonder who
follows.
started the wave in 2019 at the Daytona 500. Who was that, Jordan?
God.
Brian Hicks.
All right, Blake, we'll let you go. Thanks for joining us, by the way, man. We much appreciate your time. I know it's very hectic down there.
No problem, guys. If you want to talk
Well,
to me
you know,
again,
Sean, I
drag me
just
in.
do the best I can.
Oh God. Thank you,
Okay.
Blake.
All right, go.
There he goes.
You know, whenever I'm having a very bad day, I actually think back to that time that we started the wave at the 500.
Thanks.
Does it help you sleep at night knowing you did that?
It really does, you know? That, you know, there's probably some random person in 483 that was like, man, those guys are so cool.
right,
I
so
bet they were really thinking that.
Well, back on track here. So we had Michael Guess and Eric Smith come down pit road to take some fuel, presumably. Blake McCandless, do you have any word as to what they did down there?
They came down to pit road, and then they left. Now remember, Michael Guest, he stayed out at that caution right before the end of stage 1, so he could not go as long as Eric J. Smith did. So perhaps a coordinated effort here, but they did indeed. I can confirm they came down pit road, and they put this thing called tires on the right side of their car, and then filled the other part of the car with some type of liquid, and then they went off on their merry way.
Excellent. Well, look at this. What's happening at the front of the field? The two lap-down cars of Gary Waterworth and Jake Poulin are leading their respective lines. So they're 1-2 in the pack right now as Jake Poulin falls another lap down. You're not getting a Masters update, by the way, so stop asking. As they head down the back straightaway, still side by side, Waterworth and Poulin lead the field, but Dylan Alt is first on the leaderboard.
Yeah, Dylan Alt first on the leaderboard. I think that's what got me messed up is now we have a two-car tandem very tight on the outside lane. It's Jordan's pick going for the lead here in turn 4 with help from Eddie Kerner. It's Garrison Hogan, the driver, not the crew chief. Cannot believe I'm going to say it. Garrison Hogan's about to lead a lap in a race, guys.
What's that supposed to mean?
Well,
Wow.
Has Garrison never led before?
He's got a
led before.
6,500 I rating.
he's never led a lap before in the presence of me and Malik.
Oh my God. I'm sorry, Garrison, if you're watching. That was just uncalled for.
Jesus.
Look at this. Now Garrison's by himself up
Oh,
there.
you jinxed him. Come on, my
I did
pick.
no such thing.
We're going to bring him up here in a minute. You're going to have a word with him. I can't believe you do that. What did Garrison do to you?
Nothing. It's just proven facts.
Oh my God. All right. Well, there's still stuff happening. Right now, Gary Waterworth still leads the field on the track, but he's one lap. Well, he's not a lap down anymore. He's on the lead lap now. So
Tail end of the lead lap.
Going to be interesting to see where he shakes out when the pit stops happen. So, Blake, I know you've been keeping track diligently down there. When do you think these guys are going to be coming in?
Well, Sean, I think you're going to see these guys around lap 82 or 83 again. They pulled off a pit road at about lap 50 or 45, rather. So we're right in that window of where we're going to start to see drivers come down. I think I'm actually hearing a couple calls over the radio. We may see some drivers pit this time. So the next 2 laps are going to be busy, and we'll see if it's as crazy as it was the last time they came down pit road.
Sam, what you got down there on the radio?
I'm hearing that the Clint Torres racing cars are about to hit the pit lane here very shortly. It was all, I think my calculations, oh, they're almost about to hit the lap car, Jaden Willis. My Lord, that was scary for Jake Poulin and Ethan Kurtz. They just about wiped out their chances at this race. But these guys are going to be a little short of the window that I prescribed under the last caution. They're going to fall about 5 laps short. Some of these guys are going to pit short here, get the stage points, hopefully the track position. As they come off turn 2, the lap cars are at the front of the field.
They are. So you see the lap cars of Ethan Kurtz in the 92, Gary Waterworth in the 12, and Jake Poulin in the 00. They are not on the lead lap. Ethan's 2 laps down. The 00 and the 12 are 1 lap down. But Blake, I got to commend these guys. They're doing a heck of a job to get their laps back so far.
They certainly are, and we'll have to see how long they can hang on as we're going to start to see some cars duck off and into pit road. Dylan Alt is bringing his car down, as well as about 5 or 10 others you can see right there directly behind Dylan Alt, and they start to make their way down to pit road. We'll follow along here with Alt, the first driver that's on pit road. He's going to pull down and do largely what we've seen throughout the day. Two Goodyear Eagles on the right side going to go up. 2 full cans of Sunoco Racing Fuel going to go in. It looks like it's clean so far, so at least this trip around, relatively clean onto pit road, but Dylan Alt is down and away, and it looks like the rest of this pack going to be able to form up quite nicely off the pit road.
Got a bunch of people saying they're coming in the pit this time, so we're going to see who does. I'm seeing Spencer, and here comes everybody. Spencer Burns, the lap cars. Look at Eddie Kerner again, trying to repeat his pit entry from last time. Ethan Kurtz is loose, and they all make it into pit road, Sam Watson.
A horde of cars coming to pit lane. There's some contact in the rear. We're going to go down here to the Jake Pullen machine. Give me them sounds, Blake. As he slides in here, he almost takes out his pit crew. He rolls the car back in reverse. He has overshot his box by a mile. A disaster on pit lane for Jake Pullen, taking equipment out of the box. That's going to be a penalty. They go around to the right side. Now back to the left here. Mark Hollywood Armstrong's going to jack the car up. They're going to put a round of wedge in it. 4 tires in fuel for Jake Pullen. He's going to get down and away here.
And it looks like we're going to have another couple cars that stayed out that last time. Just a few. Brad Wright, Derek Justice, Ryan Doucette, Evan Brinker, 1 car barreling on in. That is Andrew Schwartz in the back. And really, this is the remaining pack of cars that have not made their way down to pit lane. We'll follow along here as I kind of run over here. It looks like I'll be able to catch up here with the Baskin-Robbins. But actually, Sam Watson's there. He's beat me to it.
Wait a second. Kevin McAdam
just
overshot his
here in the Baskin-Robbins machine. No complaints on him. He just says he wants his teammate to stick with him more. They're going to go 4 tires of fuel in that thing, put 2 cans of Sunoco Racing Fuel in it, a water bottle going in the window here. No tear off to get him here to this 15-lap stage break. There, Justice, down and away.
Jordan, has the statute of limitations passed yet? Can we get a replay of what happened to Kevin? He just completely overshot his pit and then towed immediately. Didn't put it in reverse or anything. Watch Kevin. He locks up, and his pit stall's right at the beginning. There it is, the purple stall there, and he just stops.
Oh,
wow.
Oh, no.
It's my pick, and I told him not to let me down, and there he is letting me down.
Well, he's got back out there.
Yeah, awesome. Great.
I mean...
Brad Wright also took a tow. He missed his pit box. He took a tow.
What is going on? Is there like a rule where if you miss your stall, you got a tow? I don't understand what's happening here.
Apparently reverse just doesn't exist anymore. I don't know.
Guess not, but nonetheless, that's going to cycle out to where Eddie Kerner is now your leader. But look at this, guys. Look at David Schildhaus. He's still up front there in that 20 machine.
Oh, did Mercurio speed again?
That would be his 2nd speeding penalty. He got another one in the beginning of the race, and that is... I don't know if he can come back from that, but Sam, any update you got down from penalties on pit road?
Guys, I just got the word. Brian Mercurio is black flag for a pit exit. He violated the line coming off the corner. So a tough break for Brian Mercurio. Seems to be getting in trouble with the officials more than the Alabama recruiting process for football.
And actually, it wasn't speeding. It was pit road exit. He merged onto the track too soon, coming down from race control. It was pit road exit that was the problem for Brian Mercurio.
What happened to Garrison? Oh, man.
Ever since Sam opened his mouth about Garrison, it's just been all downhill from there. What do you have to say about yourself, Sam?
It's what me and Malik have both come to a consensus on.
Unbelievable.
I'm done.
Garrison, again, if you're watching, we apologize for Sam's actions. That's completely uncalled for. But, guys, we're coming out. We got 13 laps to go in stage 2. Again, the first stage was lap 50. The second stage is going to end at lap 100. And so, very similar to the first stage here. Lots of guys vying for that stage winner right now, guys. Brandon Hawkins leads them. But is that going to be the same off the corner, as they got a big checkup off the corner? And Josh Mendoza in race control says 41 penalty for exiting through too many stalls, so he violated the Hicks rule.
Oh, the Brian Hicks rule.
That.
11 pit stalls, apparently.
Wow.
That's a lot of pit stalls.
That is a good amount of pit stalls. So, Sam, you're very familiar with the Hicks rule. You think that's a fair judgment?
I don't really like that kind of rule, but I mean, it rules a rule here at Daytona. Under these green flag stops, I don't see it being an issue, but like I said, our rules are rule. Josh Mendoza does a fine job with these rules. He puts the hammer down when he needs to. He just did against Brian Mercurio. You hate to see it for his boys back at the shop, but it's just one of them things in racing.
We can pull Josh up here. We can ask him about it.
Should we? I mean, he's very busy.
They're coming to the end of the stage here. You got time.
All right, let's do it. Josh, how about that penalty that you just issued? We want to hear about it.
So our pit road officiator, he goes through and he reviews each and every single car that enters and exits out of pit road. You can go through a maximum of 5 pit stalls. Any more than that, you got to go down pit road one more time. It's just not worth it. But maybe the second time will be the learning lesson for the 41 car.
All right, well, Josh Mendoza will let you go, but a very interesting rules update there. Make sure you don't drive through too many pit stalls. There's Brad Wright, 34th.
The officiating crew's not going to miss very much, but look at these guys. There's Kevin just letting everybody down, and the ass end of the field back there. I'm going to have a talk with him after this. He's somehow on the lead lap, so if he can still manage to stay in front of this field by the end of the stage, I mean, he could catch a caution if they wreck, but who knows. But there's Cosman. He's currently in 31st. What's happened to everyone at Speed Inc? They're just throwing this race away. There's Chris Wetz right there. Jake Poulin is also there. Justin Malillo leading that field. Well, I don't say field, little group. But yeah, Speed Inc is just falling apart at the end of this race. But Sam, they're still side by side as we're on board with the PETA machine and Matt Danson in the 3.
You know, Sean, I mean, this race is not over yet. We're just coming up on halfway, and you know, I think there's a lot that can still happen here. I don't think Kevin McAdams will be in contention, but a lot of these guys that are trapped one lap down, I don't think it's time to give up just yet if you're Ethan Kurtz and them. You know, they're still running up here at the front of the field trying to get this lap back, but a long ways to go here at Daytona, and we know how fast stuff can happen here in a hurry, so you never know here as the back goes back to turn 1.
Back into turn 1, they are side by side for the race lead. Of course, Kurtz is a lap down, but that battle taking place directly behind him with Brandon Hawken and Michael Guest. And again, we are working just now 9 laps to go in stage 2. We'll race it through, and of course, if we get to lap 96 and then a caution comes out, we'll race back through the top 10. But you're seeing a lot of the same names that we saw at the beginning, or rather the end of stage 1, who are going to be a factor here. Dylan Alt is in the top 10. Eddie Kerner, David Schildhaus has started to rear his head here in the top 10. That was a great little phrase right there.
Rearing his head.
Yes.
So a couple guys that just went a lap down that we saw. So Brad Wright was up at the front of majority of the race. He just went a lap down, along with Arnold Columbia, who we saw was in that first and only caution flag of the race. So put those guys a lap down. As Ethan Kurtz, I got to give an attaboy to Ethan Kurtz so far. He is still trying to get one of his laps back. He's 2 laps down in that 92 Ford Mustang. He's side by side for the lead right now with Michael Guest. But if Ethan can somehow stay up front and catch a caution and then get back on the lead lap, that would be something. But right now it's Michael Guest in that black 74 leading the way on the top side. He's got Eric Smith right behind him as we're coming down to about 8 laps to go here in stage 2.
As the group is formed up at the buffet here, coming to 7 or 6 laps to go at the line for these stage points, I believe Michael Guest is going to try to hold the sweep on these stages, but I think Eric Smith is going to have something to say about that. I think the business is about to pick up again here. Might see another caution because push may come to shove for some points for these guys as they race down the backstretch. Michael Guest, your leader. Eric J. Smith in second. Brandon Hawken in third. Dylan Ott in a tight battle for the 4th and 5th position with Ryan Doucette.
Well, and they are working 3 wide behind. That's Jacob Fisher, who's all the way to the outside. He's trying to make something work as perhaps a couple of drivers starting to move a little bit earlier than what we had. Of course, we restarted with about 5 laps to go last stage. They're trying to set up their moves, like Sam was saying, just a little bit earlier. But still, Brandon Hawken trapped behind the lap car of Ethan Kurtz trying to find a way by. And remember, that yellow line is not in effect, so we could see some gnarly moves here down the Daytona Super Stretch as Kerner goes to the inside for just a moment.
As we see down the back straightaway, guys starting to shuffle back. The 94, Jacob Fisher, tried to make it 3 wide through everybody, but he has no help up there. I talked with crew chief Leighton Sabile during the last run. He said they're looking to be very aggressive in this race. As you see, he's all by himself on the top, so he's going to need some friends up there to make that 3rd lane work. But right now, we're coming down 5 laps to go in stage 2. It's still Guest showing the way, but he's got Eric Smith to the outside of him looking for the lead.
Smith now wanting to challenge for that lead. He has it by a whole car length almost, now just a half a car length as they go back to the corner. Dylan Alt was just giving him the business down the front stretch here. Help from Garrison Hogan. Oh, Dylan Alt split up. They make contact and they go around. Garrison Hogan, Eddie Kerner's around. 4, 5, 7, 8, 9 cars around.
What the? Oh my God. Wait, why? Why
that was very loud.
What was the point of that?
But guys, there's no caution. We stay green here.
Because they're coming to
they're racing back again. It's 5 to go at the end of the stage. They're racing back, and it looks like Ethan Kurtz is going to get his lap back. And at the line is, I believe, Eric Smith. No, Michael Guest was your leader at the line. Dead tie at the line. So the top 10 is across the line now. Michael Guest has won his second straight stage of the race. Sam went to the bathroom, Blake, so you have to kind of pick it up.
Man, look at, and just all that out of, I mean, Sam literally just got done saying that Dylan Alt was giving him the business, and apparently he was just giving too much as he overheated his number 40 Toyota, and unfortunately that's going to cost his field a lot of very competitive cars. Garrison Hogan is involved in it. It looks like perhaps David Schildhaus caught a piece of it. You see right there the 20 machine. Eddie Kerner gets some heavy damage out of that. I believe the 099, that is Colton Salick that is parked there on the back straightaway. He's lost the nose of that machine, and it all started again, just an overheating issue. You can see right here, Dylan Alt is all over the back bumper of Eric Smith trying to push, and when that engine expired, there was just nowhere to go.
Currently riding on board with Garrison Hogan. It happened so fast. There's no way he could have done anything different in that unless he could predict the future. But nonetheless, that'll bring out our second caution of the night here at the FTF Bar Visuals 500 tonight. And gotta say, coming to the end of the stage, Michael Guestblake has been very impressive. He's 2 for 2 in stages so far, but we've seen plenty of times where guys would win 2 stages, but ultimately not the race. So if you're in his shoes, would you be satisfied with those 2 stages, or are you looking to complete the sweep?
Well, of course, you're obviously looking to go up and win this race, but FTF is known for chaotic second halves in these races. So I think you really have to be happy with winning both the opening stages, collecting 20 championship points as you're looking forward through to the end of this year. And that is one thing that just until you do it, you don't realize how big of a difference that stage points make, particularly in a league like FTF that is going to be so competitive all year long. And until you're in it, you don't realize how important those stage points rack up. So I think for Michael Guest, who's going to be, again, just one of many very talented and competitive drivers throughout this season, just being able to secure those stage points is going to be very important, and we're going to talk about that all season long.
Absolutely. So a big break there for guys coming into the pits, at least the guys that dodged that last wreck. So it's going to be, it looks like Brandon Hawkin is going to win the race off of pit road. So he's going to assume the lead here. So very interesting fallout from that wreck, and I gotta feel really bad for Garrison, man. He just had absolutely nowhere to go for that wreck. So very, very tough there for Garrison. Let's see if he's still in there. Let's see if we can have a word with him. Garrison, we yanked Blake up here without his consent. We're doing the same thing for you. So can you tell us what exactly happened in that?
You know, we knew the stage was coming. We knew that it was going to be tough racing, but I didn't expect the 42 to blow up. The 42 blew up without saying anything in front of me, and you know, I was content with riding on the top and just getting through the stage lap, but I guess he just wanted to try to push the issue, and he didn't look at the gauges. Can't help that.
Well, now we're gonna pin this on Sam because we're gonna tell you this earlier. You're Jordan's pick in this race, and Sam, when you got up front there, what did Sam say exactly? He said, "Wow, looks like Garrison Hogan's finally gonna lead a lap."
Yeah.
So, I mean, go ahead and say what you meant by that, Sam, because neither of us or any of us in the booth really appreciated those comments. And I'm sure Garrison doesn't either.
Well, see, Sean, you like to comment on stuff that you don't know about. But every time me and Malik were around Garrison did not run well. And I was just poking fun at Garrison.
Unreal.
And then shit hit the fan here.
Well, yeah, that's pretty much how it goes. You know, somebody in my chat just said it on Superspeedway tracks. I don't have that much luck, I think. But, hey,
It is what it is, really, especially in this. So how bad's the damage? They can get it back out there and be still competitive, you think?
Nah, it's killed. I was just looking at that. It's 5 minutes, so I'm pretty much done.
Man.
Damn it!
All right, well, again, we're blaming Sam 100% for this. So Garrison, hopefully we can catch you back in the race next week. So got the super speedway out of the way so we can get you back some more points. But good luck the rest of the way, man. We'll go ahead and take care of Sam for you. Don't you worry about it.
See you on Monday, Sam.
You got that to worry about,
It's
Sam.
on Monday. I now know that it's Monday or Tuesday. Thank you, Garrison.
Go get him, Garrison. Make your presence felt.
Oh, I will.
All right, man. Take it easy.
Thanks, guys.
Garrison Hogan in the Scuderia Viola team here. Not the result he wants, but we're going to blame that entirely on Sam. And I don't think you can blame it on anybody else, really.
No.
Definitely not. So we're coming back racing here. Let's go ahead and give a brief little rundown. As we mentioned, Brandon Hawken is going to assume the lead after winning the race off of pit road. Justin Knobloch, haven't talked much about him all race. He's currently sitting in second. Blake Reynolds is third. Evan Brinker will be sitting in fourth. Michael Guest will be fifth. Eric Smith, sixth. Jacob Fisher will be seventh. Caden Rush, eighth. Pole sitter Ryan Doucette, ninth. Kenny Brady will be 10th. And rounding out the top 10, Garrett Mashburn. He's got a ton of damage on the front end of that 78 car. So we're going to see how he will pan out in this run. So, again, we've reached stage 2. The last part of the stage is the end of the race. So we're going to go to lap 200. Green flag is out. Brandon Hawken with the lead, and he gets a great jump. The high line not connected at all. He and Blake Reynolds will get tangled up here. We'll get them into turn number 1, but Hawken showing the way through the tri-oval.
Hawkins showing the way going into turn number 1. He's got help from Michael Guest on the bottom and Blake Reynolds down there. Two very strong Chevrolet Camaros on the bottom. The 49 car, Justin O'Block, decides to roll back, but he gets help. Michael Guest now jumps up in front of him off turn 2. Caden Rush for the first time today has put that Ford Mustang in the bottom. Double file formation for most of the field as the outside lane forms up halfway down the back.
Outside line trying to get formed up, but how about Caden Rush? He's going to try to lead that outside line as he will not fall back behind the Chevrolet of Blake Reynolds. So Caden Rush to the outside looking for a run. And how about Kenny Brady? He's a part of this, but he's actually scored one further lap down. So somehow, I don't know how he was on the lead lap, but somehow through a set of circumstances under caution, he was sitting on pit road so long, didn't have any damage, but nevertheless, Kenny Brady somehow lost a lap, but he's going to ride right along there, third position on the inside lane.
Well, he can't ride for too long, as we've been talking about at length. The 92 car of Ethan Kurtz is back there. He got his lap back, but now he's trying to get his second lap back. He was 2 laps down before that last caution. He is storming through the field to try to get back up there. What you got, Blake?
It is 69 degrees right now.
Is it?
Yeah, 69.
Oh, very nice temperature out there. You think it's a very nice day out here at
The wind is swirling. It's out of the southwest. Out of the south. Out of the southwest. Out of the west.
Still 1 degree.
Out of the northwest. Out of the north. Out of the east. Cannot keep up with the wind.
You're doing a great job. You can keep going. Oh, you put the graphic away.
Yeah, it's going.
Okay. Well, it was good while it lasted. Anyways, back up front here. Look at Caden Rush, guys. We haven't talked about him pretty much all race except for a couple of times, but he's looking to lead his first laps of the season. He gets a good push from Michael Guest into turn 3, so put the Matt Kenseth DeWalt Ford Mustang up front, but Brandon Hawkins still with a good push from Blake Reynolds. Off turn 4 resumes the lead, so you guys can say you can look for Brandon Hawkins and Reynolds to work together a lot. But what a push by Guest as Caden Rush is going to lead lap number 103.
You got to think Michael Guest is hot as Rush now goes to the very outside. I think he got a lap led. I think he's going to bail out of this situation. Michael Guest with a very good shove on the outside lane. He's got help from No Block and Eric J. Smith. That'll be the group to watch right there because they show no fear when they go bump drafting at these plate tracks. I think they either come here to win or wreck trying. So down the backstretch, Michael Guest with a huge head of steam has a half a car length on Brandon Hawken.
Half a car length that he has, and they continue to work down the back straightaway 2 wide. Michael Guest will go to the inside line. A bit of an update on some of those cars that had some damage from that last wreck. It doesn't look like anybody's going to be too worse for the wear here at the back of the pack. We mentioned a couple of drivers who were wrapped up in that, David Schildhaus being one of them. He's got a little bit of damage, but for the most part is at least hanging on to the lead draft right here. He's getting an inside challenge here on the apron from Jake Poulin, who's going to try to go around. down, but a couple of cars that collected damage in that. Colton Salick, David Schothaus, they're at least hanging on. Definitely not going to be able to lead any lines, but it seems they're not going to have damage that is going to impede their efforts to at least try to collect some points towards the end of this race.
Well, I mean, speaking of cars that are at the back of the field, well, in the standings they're at the back, but they're at the front right now. The 6 of Kenny Brady and the 92 of Ethan Kurtz. This is the battle for the lucky dog. This could get interesting between these two drivers. We saw just how aggressive they could be, and Ethan is right in the middle of that lead pack, but right now it's Kenny Brady holding on to the lucky dog. So watch for that to get heated as we have a battle up front still for the lead. Justin Knobloch in the 49 looking for a big push from Eric Smith, but Sam, right now nobody's got anything from Michael Guest.
Michael Guest shows the way here, Sean, but this has all the feelings of like the dual races we commentated last weekend here. We got to have a camera on the leaders and got to keep an eye on these guys battling for the lucky dog, because I have this hunch that one of these guys that gets their laps back is going to be a contender for this thing at the end of it. That's kind of how these races are. They're very wacky. But this is the perfect storyline to be running this race. A lap down for the majority of the race. Get your lap back, go run them for the end here. So keep an eye on that as off turn 4. Michael Guest shows the point, coming back to lap 107, Blake McCandless.
And that is how they will run. As you will see further back in the pack, we'll jump on board here with Seth Noel, who looked to make it 3 wide for just a moment. He has no help with him, so perhaps just trying to cool off the nose of his Nexus Esports machine. But it looks like Spencer E. Burns is going to be a willing dancing partner with him as they'll try to go to that third line. We've seen it be pretty effective. Remember earlier in the race, Spencer Burns, Kenny Brady, they made that 2-car tandem work for quite a while. And Noel, he just got some clean air on the nose of that Chevrolet rather, so he may be able to help themselves out. As you see that third line trying to work, they work 2 rows deep, 3 wide for the first couple of positions up here in the top 10, but they are a little separated here on the top side. Not sure if Burns can make up any further ground.
They might need an extra car up there to get them to go even further. So it looks like they're going to start going to the back of this pack here. So we're going to resume double file here, pretty much from second on back. Michael Guest still in firm control of the low side. You got Brandon Hawken right there, Eric Smith right behind him. But again, give a call to the 94 of Jacob Fisher, giving a great shot to the rear end of Eric Smith, leading him down the back straightaway. And Smith is going to get his nose out front. He's not going to be able to clear him. But what a shot here by the 94 of Fisher. And how about the 78 of Garrett Mashburn? That front end is just destroyed on that car. He's the third car on the top line as the exit 4.
You know, a lot of damage we saw last night. Some of those guys in that race were running with damage we didn't expect to see, like Graham Bolin. He had a destroyed front end. The same right there for the 78 machine there. Garrett Mashburn, can he have something cooking for him here in a little bit? The outside lane becoming the majority here at the front of the field. You got about 7 cars lined up on the top. Blake Reynolds has faded from the 4th position on the bottom, almost off about 3-4 car lengths now on the bottom lane. As here comes the top, Kenny Brady and Spencer Burns are going to hook up. But a little bit of an interesting strategy right now as the pack is kind of contracting.
It really is, and you see kind of separations between the first about 10 cars or so. Kenny Brady gets shoved, and around in front of the pack is the 78. Blake Reynolds hard into the outside retaining wall, but for the most part, they're able to scatter around. Derek Justice just barely makes his way by. They nearly arc a break into the wreck as Blake Reynolds gets the worst end of it. A spin here at the front of the pack. It looked like they were running 3 wide, and somehow some contact with Kenny Brady and the 78 of Garrett Mashburn did not end up going well. Ethan Kurtz gets into the 78, and unfortunately, nowhere for the McLaren to go. He gets shunted into the outside wall.
Jordan, we might have to break out the netcode cam again that we did during the Tiny Text 500K. So it wasn't much, but I think it was enough. So watch the 6 of Kenny Brady. It's going to come into the bottom right of your screen here. Watch Garrett Mashburn. He's just an innocent bystander in all this, I think. They might have come together going in the corner, but you guys be the judge. Let's see.
Brady looked down a little.
I think there would have been contact anyway.
There probably would have been.
Like, there was definitely net code, but Brady just kind of turned in really early. I think they're going to hit regardless there.
Oh, boy. Well, that's going to bring out caution number, 4 on the night here? And that, I believe, since Kenny Brady got an incident, presumably, in that crash, that's going to give Ethan Kurtz his lap back. So Ethan Kurtz, unofficially, has made up 2 laps in this race, and Sam, he's right back in the thick of it now.
Yeah, And like I said, got to keep an eye on Ethan Kurtz. I think that's going to be the guy to watch here. He's coming out pit road here right now. Going to come in and get their tires, get their fuel, send him back out, get that lap back. And I think Ethan Kurtz is going to be a dark horse pick here.
They waved Kenny Brady around.
Getting the lucky dog.
That's interesting. I guess there's a policy where even if you get an incident, you're still the lucky dog. So that, I don't know if they're going to review that or what, but nonetheless, officially, Kenny Brady is going to get his lap back, and Blake, the journey continues for Ethan Kurtz.
It does, and it's been a long drive for Kurtz, who has looked awfully sporty there a lap down. He's run at the front of the field for a majority of this race and has looked awfully competitive, but just like you said, has not been on the same lap as the rest of the field. So unfortunately for him, he's just going to have to keep working at it. He doesn't have too much competition. Only one other car is officially going to be scored on his lap. That's the 71 of Chris Wetz, the two cars that are scored one lap down. So at some point in the next 90 laps, he's going to have to get some bit of luck to eventually get his way back on a lead lap and back in competition to try and win this race.
And an interesting note here, Eric Smith has been given an end of longest line penalty. Not sure what this is about, but maybe the officials know something that I don't. We do, because
replay here.
So what did you see, Jordan? Arnold Columbia. Oh. Arnold.
Yeah, burn her down.
Oh, man. Dalen, you had your DN update weeks ago. I know Jordan's might not fall for it because he did the first time, but we're not going to fall for it again.
Let me say a little thing here. I know that
Eric Smith, too many pit stalls.
He
I run
violated the
jokes
Hicks
into
rule.
the ground a lot. We all do, but man, y'all run some jokes into the ground.
Let's see. We've had the Masters update. We've had the DN update.
How many times you asked for the DN update? That was like 3 months ago.
God, was it really 3 months ago already?
Two and a half, I think. Something like that. I don't know. But yeah, still, that was a long time ago.
Jordan's very passionate about this topic. You okay? You got it off
I'm
your
okay.
chest?
Yeah, I get everything out. I'm all right. Thank you.
Okay. No. Oh, there's the third one. The gourd horde has just been coming through.
No,
randomly.
I like the gourd horde. It's been it's been a staple for like 2.5 years
Staple?
now. So
I'll show you a staple.
okay.
But nonetheless, we are
That
under
was
the
easy.
the 1 to go signal is in the air. We have 2 Hicks rule violations. So the 009 of Eric Smith was given a penalty for exiting through 6 pit stalls. And the 88 of Brad Wright was also given a penalty for violating the Hicks rule. He exited through 7. So our officiating crew is on it here at Daytona. Big shout out to Josh Mendoza and company.
Brad Wright was Brad wrong right there.
Oh my God. And where do we go from there?
I'm running out of ideas. We should just play like a drinking game.
Of course that's your idea. Hey, let's drink some more, huh?
I mean, that's one thing I can fucking save my pain.
Oh my God.
Sam.
Hey, we're coming to a restart.
We're going back to green here.
H truck dives for the pit lane. Sean, I'm taking your job for that. Michael Guest is going to get on the lap hill. A green flag goes back in the air. Coming to lap 113th line, Michael Guest gets a good jump over Jacob Fisher. Brandon Hawking giving him the shove as the pack gets going back to turn 1.
Very disappointed in you, Sam. Why don't we have a boomer update there? I mean, everyone wants the old stuff to come back. You're just going to call the restart with no boomer update? Unbelievable.
Oh.
Do we got something coming up?
Sounds like when he clears his throat.
Standing by.
Oh, it's brewing. Here it comes.
Oh.
I think he's just joshing us.
You know what? Let's pause. Let's pause. No, let's pause 10 seconds for station identification.
Live from the bottom split, FTF bar visuals. It's Ladies and the Buccaneers in the Super Bowl in San Diego. On the outside lane, it's Spencer Burns. He's getting a shove. Hey, look at him go. He could go all the way. And he gets tackled at the 5-yard line by Michael Guest. That's as much as y'all are getting.
Are y'all happy now? Are y'all happy? That is the last bit of nostalgia you're going to get in this. You get a Sam Watson toilet update.
I am out of breath.
You were going for like, what, 20 seconds?
He's lost stamina over the years.
Mike Allstott!
The decline is real for Sam Watson.
He needs to get some TB12 in his life and keep going for a little while.
Can you give us an Allstott up the gut? Just one last thing.
Okay, hold on. Let me get the music back. Stand by.
No, the Bucks fan in me is anticipating this.
The Sam Watson cardio experience.
That is non-existent.
Oh.
Third quarter. Chris Mims hand the ball. It's to Mike Allstott. He goes. Look at him go from the 10 to the 5. Touchdown Bucks. But here comes Jamarcus Russell.
All right.
Chris Mims and Jamarcus Russell, two incredible
Wow.
talents.
What a quarterback battle.
What a team up that was.
Jesus.
The battle of 4 and 13.
Ugh.
God.
Jamarcus Russell up the gut, 285 pounds of him.
Rumbling, bumbling, stumbling, and the fumble. The ball is on the ground.
Go all the way.
Touchdown Tigers.
The Weight Watchers.
They're Tigers.
Let's get an update on some drivers back here. There's Arnold.
Yeah, let's get an Arnold Columbia update. He's
There
a
he
lap down in the 39 right there.
He's hanging out. That's
A little bit of
Colton
damage.
Salick, who's on the lead lap in 33rd.
Colt was involved in the first incident.
Yeah, there he is. Last car in the lead lap, actually, is Garrett Mashburn with no front end. He's a modified. Ha ha ha! Let's bring that back, too.
Well, Kevin's in the race, so we really can't do that.
Let's get a Kevin update.
All right, let's get a Kevin update. There he is. You know what? We're gonna do it again.
Okay.
We're gonna find out if he's cussing really quick. I don't think so. Hey, Kevin.
Hello.
Still doing nothing, I see.
Yeah, I think half the field's realizing that they're doing what I want to do. We're all
Okay.
riding right now.
They've studied your stream significantly.
Yeah, all 3 of my viewers right now are telling everyone the key to victory.
What's your Twitch, by the way?
It's Kevin McAdams 26. If you would like to watch me sit here do nothing and wait for this race to end.
There it is. It's in the chat. So, Kevin, tell us about your race so far. We're getting pretty bored up here. Sam has given us 2 boomer updates, and now we have no material left. So we're coming to you to bail us out.
Well, I mean,
I ran out of fuel literally at the commitment cone entering pit road. I overshot my stall, and I had zero pounds of fuel pressure, and that pretty much screwed me over on that last round of pit stops. Thankfully, my toe length was only 16 seconds, so I didn't lose a ton of time. I didn't lose a lap, so I'm still in the lead lap. We're still chilling. We have a big checkup here in the back. Jesus Christ.
Hold on a second. How big are your toes?
Can we
The
get
toe-
3 feet?
The toe lasted 16 seconds.
Ooh, those are big toes.
You know, I'm not used to lasting 16 seconds, so it's pretty nice.
Ooh.
What are you guys doing? You guys still?
We actually
enjoying
we have
yourself?
asked the booth. Does Kevin work out?
I don't know. Why don't you look at my guns?
That's enough of that.
How is your brand new driver-spotter relationship going with Brett Griffin so far?
Oh, we've kicked him out already after the guns comment. We can't have. We've had an experience with certain firearms on the stream before, so Sam knows all about that.
Yeah, that was crazy. The one night that burglar just came in my home and walked behind the camera there and had something.
Unbelievable. Great heroic stuff there, by the way. So back on track here. If we were on track, the modified has gotten lapped. Jordan, I know you're disappointed to see that. Travis, don't enable Kevin.
He's got him right where he wants him.
Unbelievable. Oh, there's contact up at the front here, guys. There's the 94. We've been talking about him at length. Jacob Fisher with help again. Look at the 12 car. Gary Waterworth was fighting for his life to get back on the lead lap the last run. He's currently up to 5th. And Sam, I don't know about you, but that is a trek through the field that takes a lot of time, effort, and patience.
Yeah, I think patience is the word because, you know, these guys can't stay locked on that long. Back in the old days here with the tandems, you could be at the end of the field and just push for about 4 laps before getting hot. But now with the air bubble and these small grills on them, it takes a really long time to get up here to the front. As he's back on the charge, poking nose to the outside of the lead is Michael Guest. He's going to take the lead. So keep an eye on that. Guest back to the lead. I'm pretty sure he's going to lock up the most laps led at the end of the day.
That's probably going to be the case for sure, is that 74 Colin Keister Driving School Chevrolet has been showing the way here at Daytona virtually since the drop of the green flag. We mentioned he won Stage 1, he won Stage 2, and I think we'd be hard-pressed to not call him a favorite here to even win Stage 3 and take home the checkered flag. But Spencer E. Burns is going to have something to say about that as he goes back to the outside. He'll try to take the top spot. He's got drafting help from Jacob Fisher, and like you mentioned, Gary Waterworth. They're all trying to get that top line to work that is about 10 cars strong.
Oh, man, that top line is compressing as they go through 3 and 4, still being led by Spencer Burns, and still only 3 cars on the bottom, but they're holding strong right now. It's Guest, Hawken, and Doucette, our pole sitter, but a lot of guys trying to make some moves. You see the 117, Dalton Cowden again. He finds himself back up there, but Gary Waterworth, I can't say enough about him. What a trek back to the field, and he's reaping the benefits as they're still side-by-side for second down the back.
Yeah, side by side for that second position. I think Spencer Burns has a little bit of damage to his spoiler that might be inhibiting him to be as fast as he can. As I view from high up, very up high here for me, but keep an eye on that. He draws even for the lead here. Burns with help from the 94 Jacob Fisher. Looks like that would be the Eric J. Smith machine looking 3 wide on the top, but I don't think he's going to have any help brewing with him.
Eric J. Smith really left out and hung out to dry there on the top side 3 wide. Nobody goes with him. I think he was looking to bring Kenny Brady up to the top side along with him, but unfortunately just it doesn't seem like anybody's willing to go right there with still over 75 laps to go in this race. But they're content to run double file right now. Michael Guest, Spencer E. Burns leading their respective lines, but the bottom side starting to form up just a little bit better than what we had seen previously is Spencer Burns. A big shot there from Fisher, and he nearly got turned in front of the field.
And Fisher's got to be careful. Spencer's got a little bit of damage to the rear bumper on that 06 Toyota Camry. We've seen crashes happening because of that. So we see the damaged bumpers get hooked a lot easier than the perfectly normal ones. So he's got to keep that in mind, but everyone keeps it straight. And you mentioned Kenny Brady in that 6 car. Again, he was one of those other drivers that we saw battling up there to get his lap back the hard way, but he's right now back on the lead lap as being the recipient of the lucky dog in the last caution. So he's currently being shown in 7th last time by at the line, but still side by side from second on back. And Sam, we've said it before, Guest still showing the way.
Yeah, Michael Guest, I think he's just got the best help, and I don't know if it's just the circumstances or the timing, but he's been able to hold that lead pretty well with how this aero package is. He's not really had a lot of contenders, and when he gets past, he finds his way back up to the lead. So he's still holding strong on the bottom. Burns on the outside lane. He's got 4 cars behind him now. 3 is that looks like that machine back there of. Is that who I believe that is? Yeah, that's Gary Waterworth that just ducked down to the bottom. But you know, I think it's the calm before the storm, you guys. I mean,
trouble! Blake, what are you in the waiting room for?
I just wanted to see if I can get an interview. I'm out of the race. Why not?
You're out of the race?
I am out of the race.
Your damage was that bad?
30 minutes.
30 minutes?
Yep, blew the engine coming in.
Oh, God. Well, what are you doing now?
I'm just sitting here cheering on my teammates. Evan, Brandon, Hawken. Garrison's out. That's about it.
Well, it has been a rough night for Scuderia Viola, I guess. So, I mean, your teammate Evan Brinker is up there, I mean, along with a host of others. So what's your guys' strategy been this whole race? I mean, I've seen you guys scattered all over the track. And some of you guys were up front, in the middle, and the back. So what's been the strategy for the guys up front? Are they planning on staying there, or is there some kind of strategy at the end they're playing?
Well, the goal was just to stay out of the trouble. Obviously, I tried to do that, and they still wrecked in front of me. These lap cars are racing super aggressive, trying to get their laps back. And it's just, I don't know. There really wasn't a fault there, but I'm just kind of pissed it happened.
What was your account of the wreck? I mean, what do you think you saw from your vantage point that you think the cause was?
It was just net code, and then just not, like, contact was going to happen inevitably, but, yeah, just not giving room. It was way too early to be kind of racing like that. They weren't even really racing for the lucky dog. But, yep, it just kind of happened.
Well, that's unfortunate, man. I mean, you want to hang out up here for a bit? I mean, you could be our impromptu pit reporter, or you just want to go back down there with your Scuderia Viola teammates down there?
I could vibe here for a bit, yeah.
Excellent. So we'll go ahead and have you up here for a bit. So, Sam, they just went by you going into turn 3, so still dicing for position up there as they lap the 78 again. But here comes Guest for the lead off of turn 4 once again.
Yeah, Michael, I guess, fighting strong on the outside lane, and Sean, it just crossed my mind. I wonder if these guys are they're trying to get something worked out, because we're coming up soon here on these pit stops. Oh, there he goes, Michael Guest. He gets turned in front of the field. That's going to take out 5 cars. Michael Guest, there, Jay Smith in front of him. Who can get blowed up here? More cars trying to pile in. Guest rolls down the speedway as a case of bumper hook is going to take the dominant car at Daytona, and it's destroyed. Michael Guest is destroyed at the front of the field. Jacob Fisher's involved. Oh, you hate to see that. In the words of Mike Joy, the fastest Chevy and the fastest Ford in Daytona are junked.
Unbelievable. As you said, Sam, it looked like just a case of bumper hook. Jake Fisher had him pushed out front to the lead. He didn't really need to push him all that much, as we'll see. Watch the 94 just try to go down as well and just hooked Michael Guest, and nowhere for Eric Smith to go. He had what a dodge there by Evan. I can't even.
It's the 007 we need to look at.
Yeah, we need to look at a couple of onboards there. Evan Brinker was nearly involved in that accident there, as he got a great avoidance there. But yes, watch the 007 currently on board with Jared Torres. Watch this. He sees the wreck happening ahead of him, and we'll just let you watch for yourself here. There's the wreck.
Oh!
Man.
Ah, geez, wow.
Similar thing for Evan Brinker too, really, as they came across. Oh man, so many good avoidances in that, but not what you wanted to see from Michael Guest. As you said, Sam, the dominant car has been taken out, and what do we do now? I mean, Michael Guest was showing the way for the whole point of the race, but where do we go from here?
I will say this, Sean. Ethan Kurtz is going to get back on the lead lap, I believe, and I'm telling you, keep an eye on him. But this throws the monkey wrench in it right here. I think this is anybody's race now, because Michael Guest, he was controlling them lanes very good at the front of the field, and that has just come to a grinding halt. And this is about the point in the race where everybody starts to get a feel for what's coming. And I think with 70 laps to go here at the line, I think they know the intensity meter is about to pick up significantly.
Wow, Ethan kind of split those two cars on the apron there, so that's going to get him back on the lead lap, as we got a bunch of cars coming to pit road, Blake McCandless, so you got an update on down there.
Well, as we're working here down on the pit lane, a couple of drivers deciding what they want to do. It's about 70 laps until the end of this race, so they're going to be able to split this last run nearly perfectly. But riding along here with Corey Carpenter, right into his pit stall he goes. 2 tires on the right side of that Sunoco Chevrolet. He's going to put 2 cans of Sunoco fuel in to go with that, and actually they're going to go around and take left sides too, so they adjust their call here at the last second, but Corey Carpenter down and away.
We got to wonder if there's going to be more pit box violations. We've seen, 3 of them tonight? We've seen 3 violators of the Hicks rule. So that's going to be interesting. As guys, Spencer Burns is still on pit road here, so I guess he's still getting some damage fixed. But nonetheless, the race off of pit road is going to be won by Justin Knobloch in that 49 Chevy Camaro. So put him to the point. Dalton Cowden, again, didn't know he was going to be in the race until about 5 or 10 minutes before the session went up, so he finds himself in second. Gary Waterworth will come out third. Derek Justice, haven't talked much about Derek Justice at the middle part of this race. He's going to come out in fourth. David Schildhaus, I assume he's got a majority of his damage fixed. He's going to come out in fifth. Hunter Colony, again, another guy we haven't talked much about in that 014. He's going to be shown in sixth. Seth Noel in seventh. Jared Torres in eighth. Corey Carpenter ninth. And Blake, your pick, Taylor Morgans, breaks the top 10.
He does, and actually another driver given a penalty. It is Brad Wright once again. The back of his car says, Taylor Swift, look what you made me do. And look at what he's done to himself. Another penalty driving through too many pit stalls.
10 stalls?
10. Now, to give him credit, I think he thought if 2 of his right side tires were out of the stall, it didn't count. We'll see it right here. He pulls into his box. Actually, did he overshoot that? Yeah. He'll back up a little bit here, and he keeps his left sides through every pit stall to the end of pit road. I think that is what's going to get him.
Yep. So watch here. The jack is going to come down, and there he goes. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, maybe 11. But nonetheless, that's almost double the amount you're allowed. And Brad Wright, for the second time tonight, is going to get that EOL for violating the Hicks rule, as we've come to call it. So, Sam, that's 2 for Brad Wright. Do you think he should get some special award for violating the Hicks rule excessively in one race?
Well, we saw what a little bit of a notoriety does to Brian Hicks becoming the TikTok sensation that he is. So I don't know if Brad Wright wants to go down that road there, but certainly quite the storyline. I don't wonder if that's a strategy call or not, but take a look at the ticker there, Sean. I want to point out something. Jake Poulin is inside the top 10.
I'm really glad you pointed that out for us, Sam. That's a good look there. Now, Jake, we've mentioned he's had an eventful race, as we talked about at length at the beginning. Was just messing around at the beginning of the race, went a lap down early, and here he is in the top 10. So good job by Jake getting back up there, manipulating the track surface as he probably has access to throughout the race to make him quicker. But nonetheless, we're coming to racing again. We're going to lap 133 of the scheduled 200 laps that make up the distance here. Pace truck is off. Justin Knobloch and Dalton Cowden will lead them to the green flag. Cowden doesn't have a very good restart there. He's got a big push from Derek Justice coming up. They might be too separated on the bottom. And here comes Cowden on the top with a big push from the Baskin-Robbins number 31. And look at Taylor Morgan's looking to make it 3 wide into 1.
And Justin Knobloch on the bottom got a very good start, but the help all formed up on the outside lane. Cowden's got a nice shove from Derek Justice on the outside lane there as well. Here comes Kolodny on the outside lane. He's trying to go 3 wide. He goes to the very outside lane. He gets shuffled right there by Taylor Morgans. Now the pack begins to kind of joust a little bit here, down low, side by side. At the front of the field, Cowden gets down. Justice gets down almost with him there. Gets up alongside as they go into turn 4.
And I'll tell you what, that was an aggressive clear there by Dalton Cowden, who has finally found his way back up to the front of the field. He's got a little bit of damage on the nose of that Chevrolet, so we'll see how well he holds up at the front of the pack. Derek Justice looking to take advantage as a couple of veterans of this Cup Series and NR 2003 looking to go to the front of the field. On the high side, Derek Justice and Taylor Morgans, former series champion.
Yeah, we mentioned Taylor Morgans a couple of times. Get used to hearing that name. He is still fairly new to iRacing, hasn't been on it all that much, but since the FTF series has come full-time to iRacing, he was one of the more dominant drivers in the NR series for quite some time. As Blake mentioned, multiple-time series champion. So keep an eye on that 36 Reese's Camry as he's working with Derek Justice going into turn 3. Might be running a little warm, so he's going to have to back off. But nonetheless, Dalton Cowden and Justin Knobloch show the way off of turn 4.
Yeah, and Cowden just keeps that thing pinned around the yellow line here as you got the Sweets cars up top there, the Baskin-Robbins car and the Reese's machine. They're now rolling on the outside lane. Jake Poulin just watching there. Just 2 cars on the outside lane really making hay. And the bottom lane has the vast majority here as Derek Justice pulls up alongside in turns number 1 and 2. Can he get the run off here? We'll have to see as they come off 2 and go down the back.
And we've seen him side drafting the bottom line. He does it once again off the corner. Cowden going to move up a little bit, but what a great shove there from Taylor Morgans. You'd figure Jake Poulin is a part of that as well. Morgans goes down to clear, and Morgans is going to go around, and somehow they haven't spun yet. And finally Morgans hard into the wall. It looked like he wanted to follow Derek Justice there to the bottom. The fact that they kept it straight that long between Cowden and Morgans was quite impressive, but unfortunately the whole field came to a stop. Morgan slams into the outside retaining wall. The 56 gets turned around in the ensuing chaos as well. That's John Poole, and you'll see it right there. Yeah, Morgan's just thought he was clear. I don't think he saw Dalton Cowden down there beneath him, and he nearly kept it straight, but just could not do it long enough.
Well, I don't know if you can call that a broadcaster's jinx or not, since I was talking him up literally the lap before, and then he causes the big wreck here. So it looks like Taylor Morgans is going to be out of this race, and really hate to see that. He had a great run going, kept that car clean up until that point. So watch here, the car in the top lane, second car, Justice gets clear, and Morgans tries to follow him down, but just not clear whatsoever heading into turn 3, and that will effectively end the night for the number 36 car and give a lot of other vehicles damage. And Taylor acknowledges on the race chat, says sorry about that, and that'll effectively end his night. So yeah, Sean Jinx in the field, no way, it's never happened before ever. But Sam, it's starting to get down to it here. We're getting close to 50 to go, and the wrecks are starting to be more prevalent as we continue on here.
Yeah, and that's just the ugly side of plate racing. Plate racing can be a really fun and kind of a beautiful thing in a certain way until push comes to shove. And the 36 car there, if Taylor he made a simple mistake that happens all the time in these iRacing races, as we watch David Schildhouse make a nice evasive maneuver to get around here on the outside lane. But I think this is just a trend that's going to keep happening here until we just get down enough cars where we can't wreck them all. You know, and it's just what an unwreckable is by Schildhouse here. But it's coming down here to almost 60 laps to go, and I don't think we've seen the last of that.
We're getting on the race chat, I mean, well, in the Twitch chat, I should say, people are kind of criticizing the 12 of Gary Waterworth and that. So if the statute of limitations haven't passed, we might be able to go back and see what that's all about.
We literally had an onboard of him.
Excellent. So we got to see what that was all about.
You're just not paying attention like usual.
I'm sorry. I got multiple
That's
monitors
okay,
up.
man.
I
I'm sorry. That
apologize.
was a little aggressive. I'm sorry for that. You're doing a fantastic job.
Are you really sorry?
What a community we got going on here.
What was that?
What a community we've got going on here. That's
Really
just so
do.
positive.
Can I make an observation?
Very tight-knit community. What you got?
The winds are out of the northeast now.
Wow.
At 1 mile an hour. It has not wavered in the velocity of the winds.
How many lead changes is that? Is that
57.
57 lead changes?
Yes.
Oh, yeah, it does say that. Wow, that is impressive.
57.
1 degree track temp still.
That's incredible. The track is
Still
just
69.
Yeah. Oh, now the wind is still out of the northeast.
Why does it say hello in the middle?
Hello.
Okay, that's all you had to say. All right, so 500 viewers even in this race here. So thank you very much for tuning on in. Hope you guys are enjoying yourself tonight. Coming down to the last quarter of the FTF Bar Visuals 500 tonight. And Blake, it's been a lot of action, a lot of wrecks, but been very good racing for the most part. So I would think it's only going to get even tighter until the end of this thing.
Well, I think the patience is starting to wear thin. Of course, we are still over 60 laps to go in this race, but I think the way this is sorting out, I don't think that these wrecks, they take maybe a couple of cars here or there. It's not anything large enough to take out a significant portion of the field, so I don't think that's going to exactly ramp down the aggression. I think you're still going to see the same battles up front that we've seen for a majority of the night. Another penalty to Brian Mercurio as he drives through 9 pit stalls, so we've had some repeat offenders when it comes to driving through too many pit stalls here multiple times tonight. But regardless, it's just been one of those things where I don't think we're going to see a let up of the 2 and 3 wide racing we've seen at the front of the field the last couple of laps or so. I think that's going to retain itself until we get to the end of this thing.
So that's what, 2 drivers that have violated the Hicks rule multiple times. So that is something. I mean, they didn't learn their lesson the first time. So Brad Wright and Brian Mercurio, just a complete disregard for the FTF rulebook. And Kyle Riley and Josh Mendoza and the officials up there, they're not going to stand for it, and they're putting their stamp on this race. But
you know, I gotta say, I'm surprised Mercurio's been guilty because he's a champion in this series from NR 2003. What's the one difference between iRacing and NR 2003? You couldn't drive through pit stalls. You didn't ghost through people. So surprised that of all the people that have been repeat offenders, he's been one of them.
And we're having an extend to the yellow here, so we're going to go back racing this time by not so much. Josh Mendoza throws the caution flag to extend pacing by an extra lap, so that's going to rack the field back up. I didn't really see anything that would warrant a extends, would warrant a delay for the green there. Sam, you hearing anything?
I think that Jake Pullen he just reported down that Josh Mendoza wanted to make this an even 61 laps when they come back to restart here. So maybe even getting another delay on the green here, but they are getting very specific here on what lap they go back green on, Sean.
we had the same thing.
Kyle, we haven't talked to you yet.
How's it going up here?
It's going good, man. So we got an extra lap now, and we figured we'd get a word in with you. Again, you were very popular when we interviewed you. They're all for the wrong reasons, of course. But how are you looking up there in the officials' tower? What's the reason for this next delay here?
Well, the reason for this year delay is because iRacing is a fantastic service, and for some reason penalized our lucky dog for pitting the lap he's supposed to pit on.
Oh.
Don't know how or why it happened. However, I will say this has significantly been the least depressing.
All right, and welcome back. It's been a little bit since we were last with you here, but we are finally set and ready to go here at iRacing Superspeedway. Just be a couple more minutes, and we'll let these guys continue to roll on in and join the server for the FTF Saturday Night Superspeedway League, except it's on Friday. Blake McCandless, Justin Prince, Zach Johnson down in the virtual production trailer live with you here on STN. And, you know, Justin, we've been around iRacing for a while. We've pretty much seen any type of car race at any type of track, but I got to say, this is the first time in iRacing that I will see or broadcast a race that is being run at this racetrack. So as much as we've done a lot of super speedway races together, I think this is going to be something different. I'm not exactly sure what to expect.
Well, this is going to be an interesting one, to say the very least. I've seen these cars here a few times, and this is a type of track, Blake, where you're going to have to lift into the corners to be able to maintain speed and grip, because these cars slide up the racetrack. You're going to need to leave space. You're going to need to be careful in the corners. It can cause a lot of problems overall throughout the night, but it's also going to be tricky to maintain the speeds. 235 in the corners, more than 240 plus miles an hour down the straightaways. And keep in mind, these cars, you're going to have to be careful in the temperatures. It's going to be 2 to 3 wide potentially off the jump, but many of these drivers may try to elect to take it safe, while others may try and be bold and try and use that middle line to their advantage.
They're going to have to do that. I mean, think about just the setup that they even have to build for these cars right now. Obviously, we're fixed setup right now, but still, I mean, 10,000-pound front rear springs, because these cars just have such a load on them when they head into these corners that are just banked an absolutely insane amount. It is a lot to try and handle, but it is tough to get down in the banking. But as you can see, more than enough room to navigate should you choose. You could probably fit 5. You could probably even fit 6 wide here and still find a way to make it work. But the other thing about this race that makes it so interesting is, ooh, that's a hard lick right there, is just the fact that not only are we at a huge racetrack where there's a lot of room, we're at a track where we are unrestricted. So the speeds you just saw for the Moon Split 200, we are going to top that and top it by quite a bit. We're going to see speeds of over 250 miles an hour.
And it's going to be interesting which drivers end up being able to succeed with victory when it comes to this race tonight, Blake, because teamwork's going to be very important. Being able to survive potential trouble is going to be very important, to say the very least. It's also going to be very important overall to have track position, I feel like, because if you end up having a massive pack that fights for a long, long time, Blake, you can lose a fair bit of time. If you have a group that works together, though, you can potentially pick up a lot of speed. So it's going to be interesting which drivers elect to try and fight for position and risk potentially losing some time, or which ones end up trying to work together and wait for the right moment.
You're going to have to wait a while. You think about a 67-lap race. It is a 3-mile racetrack, so you think 67 laps at a super speedway may go by relatively quickly, but at least for now, it looks like we are... Yeah, we're gonna move forward here. As actually, we're going to have qualifying here, but... it's not going to be single car qualifying. We're getting off a pit road now. You see everybody getting off. This is how we're going to qualify. So Group Q at a super speedway. Everybody kind of was unsure of what to do, but this kind of adds a new element to it. Again, I don't imagine in a 67-lap race where you could go 5 and 6 wide, 3-mile racetrack, that qualifying is going to play that much of a factor, but it should be entertaining to watch nonetheless.
And keep in mind, some of the drivers, when they tandem draft, can go up to 43 sevens as well tonight, Blake, and push for a fairly long amount of time. Some drivers were able to test out for that. It's going to be tricky, though, to make sure with just 5 minutes to be able to get these times in, to do this properly and get themselves sorted together. So it's going to be interesting to see which drivers do that here. Keep in mind, some of these drivers are coming from some big events, to say the very least, and they're going to have some adaptability and some, well, usefulness and being used to running at these high speeds, to say the very least. Of course, with a lot more banking, to say the very least. But some of them are going to be interesting to see how they go, and going to be very entertaining to see if some of them can redeem themselves here in this qualifying.
We'll see if they can do that. They work down the back straightaway. Now, mind you, this is iRacing qualifying, so you cannot get an incident point or make contact with anybody. Can't hit the wall, do any of that to have your lap count. So you can push people, but you can't actually make contact with them. We'll see how many drivers are able to put down their laps, scorching around a 43.15 right now. Justin Malillo, your fastest qualifier at the moment. Again, a 3-mile racetrack, 43.15. That is absolutely booking it. That is full on sending it as we welcome in everybody from eracer_GG. We appreciate you guys jumping on over here at STN for FTF Super Speedway Series coverage here as we're doing some group qualifying right now. You see right there on the qualifying clock about 2 minutes left in this session, and these drivers, again, they're trying to get all the speed they can. They're going by at speeds that are not only what you saw, but even a little bit higher, as we're nearly, Justin, at 250 miles an hour heading into turn 1.
It's going to be entertaining, as we talked about, but it shouldn't be a surprise to see Justin Malillo up at the top of the board, Blake, because one of the drivers we talked about was him, who was tandem drafting a fair bit. That was with Naraki in particular, where they were dead even at times at one point. Looking like he's trying to regroup for one more run to try and make sure he gets the pole here. A 43-1 at the moment. But look at some of these drivers. Corey Carpenter, Derek Justice, some of the North Force drivers starting to hook up.
Teammates starting to link up as we still have a couple of drivers trickling in from the Moon Split 200. Want to give a big shout out and congratulations to Casey Kerwin, who won that race, and of course Landon Castle, who brought it home in second. That was a pretty thrilling race. I believe Tyler O'Neill was in third. Derek Justice, who's in this race, he finished up fourth in that one. So a big, a very fun event, but we'll also continue the action here as well for over 180, nearly 200 miles here at the iRacing Super Speedway. And for those of you, FTF's long been associated with its roots in NR 2003. Very competitive drivers that have been a part of the league for a very long time. And of course, this racetrack, if you ran the old Papyrus days, it is pretty familiar to you. It was, of course, branded at the time as Coca-Cola Super Speedway, was a part of the Papyrus series of games all the way since 2002. And finally, after a long wait, has made its way to the iRacing service, and you can race anything on here. Cup cars. Oh, what Ryan Naraki hard into the wall. Jeez, man, you can look up and see how hard these drivers are hitting, as I believe they think the qualifying clock is expired, so I think they're just they're going to scrap some sheet metal here before we get going.
Keep in mind, when it comes to open qualifying, they'll have an extra couple seconds or so when the clock fully runs down here to allow for one final lap for some of these drivers. The question is, will anyone get to that mark? I don't think so. I think everyone is just going to take the checker flag here to complete their current laps over the next minute or so. But some of these drivers, man, it's going to be fun. A lot of these drivers with connections to the old days, as talked about with this series, and a lot of these drivers with connections to fun like this. For example, you have drivers like Davey Davis looking for some fun, like Brandon Cattell, Adam Gilliland, David Shieldhouse, and oh, don't forget about Optimistic Gabe. Yes, he's here too. Dead last in qualifying, but he's here too. And don't forget about the bottom split guys. This is going to be fun. And I think they're going to bring the big-time fun by trying to be very fun with their moves. I wouldn't be surprised if we see some iRacing space shuttle cars tonight.
I don't think I'd be surprised either, Justin. And by the way, the point system in this series, this is the season opening race, so obviously everything's on the line. Nearly have a full field in here, as this race was originally scheduled for a 9 p.m. green flag starting time. Of course, that pushed back by virtue of the Moon Split 200, which was a lot of fun to watch. But we're seeing a lot of drivers continue to trickle in, many who didn't even take a time in qualifying. It looks like we're going to have 32 when it's all said and done that are going to make their way out to the grid, and this is what the grid is going to look like. Malillo looked like he had the pole on lockdown until the last couple of seconds of qualifying. Brennan Mersda, 43.056 around a 3-mile racetrack. That is hauling the mail, and he will start on pole with Mike McConville to his outside. Justin Malillo, who held the pole for a good portion of qualifying, will start in third. Tristan Hagenstein in fourth. Ryan Naraki will roll off in fifth. Sixth goes to Cole Freilich. Seventh is Andrew Hardcastle. Eighth is Lucas Plosel. Ninth, Adam Martin. And Tyler Williams, Justin, rounds out the top 10.
Colin Bauer starts 11th with Clint Roberts in 12th position. Jack Painter will start in 13th with Derek Justice in 14th position. We'll see how the eNASCAR Coca-Cola iRacing Series driver does, along with his teammate Corey Carpenter in 15th position. Matthew Swack starts in 16th with Dylan Norwoodney starting in 17th. Isaac Johnson and Gabe Allen, the last drivers to take times, while Adam Gilliland will start in 20th position.
And again, the remaining drivers did not take a time in qualifying. Brandon Cattell, just coming off the heels of his second-place run in the Blue Emu Battle 150s last night. He'll roll off 21st, 22nd to Michael P. Frisch. Just hopping out of the booth and onto the racetrack is Sean M. Butler. He'll start 23rd in his Pennzoil machine, 24th to Cosman Yaneshu. 25th, David Schildhouse. Jake Poulin will start in 26th. Tyler O'Neill led the white flag in the Moon Split 200. He will start in 27th. 28th goes to Keith Sherman. 29th, rolling off is Jeremy Clapper. Davey Davis, 30th. Luke Brinchoff and Kyle Riley will round out the back of the field. A couple of last names got shuffled there, but season opening race, and we are running 2007 NASCAR Nextel style points. So this is one of the things when you think about the old days and NR 2003, this is very similar to what we have there. Obviously, 5 points for leading a lap, 5 points for leading the most laps, 3 points for the fastest lap of the race. That's something new that's introduced. But, of course, having that new point system, Justin, it's something we don't often talk about a lot. Being up front, garnering those bonus points, it's actually going to mean something tonight. It's something that within the last couple of years has kind of faded.
I think it's going to be very critical, absolutely, to be able to try and run clean and fast laps, and it's going to potentially be going back and forth. It allows some opportunities, though, for drivers to be able to battle for valuable bonus points throughout some of these races. So I think you're going to see drivers potentially maybe think about that and say, you know what? I've got to back up a little bit, try and build up a run, try and see if I can get that fastest lap tonight or something along those lines tonight. It's going to be a fun night and going to be a fun series. We're going to see a mixture of cars throughout the season, keep in mind, Blake. So it's going to be fun with these Cup cars to start.
It really is. Again, 67 laps. We'll take a look at our temperature right here. 74 degrees, partly cloudy skies. Track temperature at a pretty reasonable 97 degrees. Wind isn't going to play much of a factor, and neither is the relative humidity as these drivers just try to catch their cars. Again, with all the banking here, all the loads that these machines are going to be taking into the corner. It's going to be interesting to see if they keep up with it. So for the first time, at least in my broadcasting career, the pace car is going to move onto pit road in just a moment. 90 miles an hour pace speed is the fastest on the sim as Brennan Merdza is going to get us going here at the front of the field for 67 laps around the iRacing Superspeedway. Green flag is out. They're already about 150 by the time they cross the stripe. And again, we will have room for 2, for 3, for 4, maybe even up to 5. And I think we may even see 6 wide as we go off into the banking. They're already 2 wide up front, 2 by 2 for the first couple of rows as several drivers go to the front and several, Justin, go all the way out there to that safer barrier and make their way to the back.
Yes, indeed. And I think those drivers already smelling a little bit of trouble. How about 3, 4 wide already heading off into turn 3? And this is going to be what we're talking about here. Right here, they're going to have to lift because these drivers are going to have to slide up the racetrack with how big this banking is and how big the speed is carried. It's going to be difficult, but Hagenstein, Molillo battling back and forth for the first lap.
Side by side, it looks like at the line. Give it to Justin Molillo as the Speed Inc. cars are linked up there, but there is a big wreck in the back of the pack as they work it across the finish line. Clint Roberts is involved. Another couple of cars spinning that one as we are going to have a lap 1 wreck here to start things out. And Justin, I think there was a little bit of trouble there around the David Schildhouse machine. I think it was he and Clint Roberts that that end up getting tangled up in that one. We'll take a look at our bar visuals replay, try to make sense of what happened there.
And it's so easy for this to happen. You get a big run, you see a hole, but eventually that hole closes up and you accidentally turn the car in front. With these speeds, it can provide calamity. At least 8+ cars involved trying to dodge this incident. And quickly, our first caution flag. Don't blame Shieldouts for taking the move there, but that hole closed fairly quickly with Robert starting to bobble down the racetrack with the end of the banking.
Interesting move. It starts around David Shieldhouse, but even the Gamer Advantage Chevrolet had to make a couple of evasive maneuvers there on the front straightaway as he and Clint Roberts get together, and he spins off the nose of Shieldhouse, and then he has to miss the 7 who's involved in it as well. Matthews Wack got turned. Tyler J. Williams was also a part of that. He gets some damage. I believe I also saw it was Jack Painter. He was here earlier on in practice, and the UNC Wilmington machine also looks like he got tagged in that. But it's a really strange thing, Justin. You think about how wide this racetrack is. There's more room to work out here than anywhere else we're ever going to visit, likely in any track on iRacing. Just the capabilities of this track obviously being custom made and fantasy built. It allows for as much room as possible. But the one thing about it is because you have so much room, you're already 3 or 4 wide by the time the car starts spinning. There's not a lot of room to go.
And that's the perfect example right here. You think you're safe, but with how much space there is, eventually cars just slide down the banking. It's almost like a self-clean racetrack with how much banking there is here, Blake, especially in the corners. So that can cause so many problems here for drivers to try and avoid trouble throughout the night. But it looks like pit stops are going to occur for a majority of the field. Only a few drivers are staying out, and similar to what drivers and fans may have experienced or seen when it came to the unrestricted Generation 5 cars, or the Car Tomorrow cars, tires are going to be important because they melt here quickly with the speeds carried.
The tires melt here, but I think for a lot of drivers, it is just so easy to build up runs, make up ground that I think a lot of these drivers, you see Ryan Naraki, Justin Malillo, they're going to take fuel only. Tires are going to be a little bit of a factor here, but I think the main thing is, again, you have to think about the fact we are unrestricted in this race. So we're going to be having those RPMs singing here. They're going to be barreling off at nearly 250 miles an hour. The one thing about that, and even anybody that's been involved with any of the Car Anomaly 500 happenings within the last week knows that the fuel mileage on these cars is not very good when you're going that fast. So I think we only saw 1 green flag lap there, and we still had nearly the entire field come down on pit road. I think that's going to be something that anytime we get a caution, we're going to see almost everyone in the field make their way down, because just a lap or 2 can make a big difference in fuel strategy here.
I agree with you 100%, and I've seen it play out where drivers, and this is, mind you, I've seen this in 50% fuel restricted races, in full 100% fuel tank races. The mileage only is about 30 laps or so. So we're talking about a potential tightness when it comes to it being a 1 to 2 stopper overall, or rather a 2 stopper to potentially having to go and fuel save. So this is going to be where that strategy comes into play. I think the rest of these drivers, again, want the track position early, want to stay out of the trouble. Now, the reason I say the tires are big here too, Blake, is I've seen drivers as well on 10 laps struggle with grip and struggle on restarts here. Early on, it's not going to be the biggest issue, but it is something that can pop up as the race goes on. Keep that in mind.
We certainly will. So working under the caution flag as we were approaching the start-finish line to take lap 2, a couple of cars end up in an accident. As far as fast repairs to speak of in this race, each driver allotted 1 to try to get to the end. So that's something that obviously they'll have to conserve and try to keep in mind. But again, this series, you think back to, again, we keep going back to the old days in our 2003. The one thing that is a little bit different about iRacing, you used to see all these super speedway leagues popping up over the sim. It's a little bit different in iRacing because in iRacing, obviously, at least for the oval side, you pretty much have this track, you have Daytona, you have Talladega, and that's it. We don't have the same capabilities to create racetracks and sandbox, and I mean, you can go and even still today, look up a ton of websites that have, I mean, you could find hundreds probably of super speedway tracks to run on that sim. But here in iRacing, it's a little bit different. Obviously, you're limited in the amount of tracks you can go to, but this one, unique in its own right, especially compared to Daytona and Talladega. So pace car is going to move on to pit road here in just a moment. We'll try to get things going under the green flag when we get squared away. Field going to be under the control of Tristan Hagenstein and Cole Freilich at the front, 2 drivers out of 4 that elected to stay out on that last caution flag. So a long restart zone here. Tristan Hagenstein going to wait for the flag man to get him started. Green flag is in the air. They're already 2. They're already 3 wide behind them. Freilich going to try to get down to the bottom. He's not going to be able to make it work, but Tristan Hagenstein leading a pack that is looking 3, looking 4 wide, and a big wreck behind them.
And that was coming. Tyler Williams was one of the cars involved in that caution flag, Blake, and that checked up that entire top line. Nowhere to go. And Corey Carpenter and several other drivers who had pit a second time under caution to try and stay out of trouble end up getting tagged in it still.
That is a wreck that affects a good portion of the back half of the field. And again, they were working 3. They were actually 4, nearly 5 wide, right around where that accident started. It looked like some contact between Isaac Johnson and I think the 44 of Lucas Plosel is kind of right around where all of that started. And yes, indeed, they were actually 5 wide. Schildhouse, you had Tyler O'Neill right there, Isaac Johnson, Lucas Plosel, and then the 89, a bit of a staggered 5 wide moment was Adam Martin was on the top. And it looks like the drivers that were in, I don't even know what you can say, middle 5 wide or 4th car 5 wide. I don't even know how you call that as a spotter, but nevertheless, 33 and 44 are kind of where all of this starts.
Yeah, this is, again, a tricky situation. You have drivers trying to dart and find holes, and you end up coming up with this. Just right there. Seen a hole closed as several drivers trying to shuffle around to get around Williams. Ended up stacking around and getting involved in massive incident. Want to give a shout out though to Jake Poole with a massive save. He got hit in the right rear, was coming off that race we talked about where his wheel was 45 degrees to the left in that race. I think that wheel is going to be very much more than 45 degrees out, but I've wheeled this thing to save it.
You're going to have to wheel a lot, and certainly the wheel is cranking on that race car, and that is going to be something. We'll actually get an onboard shot right here. Jake Poulin, you can see a little bit of an offset already having to turn to the left down the straightaways, and man, just out of nowhere, gets it in the right rear, able to hold on to that race car. Nice job there from Jake Poulin being able to hang on. Gets a little bit of damage out of it, no doubt, but he'll come down pit road and either fix that or utilize that fast repair that is at his disposal. But while we have you here, let's look at some upcoming events here on STN that will include, obviously, this series will continue to run throughout the week here, or throughout the Friday nights here on STN. Of course, we have the FTF Grand National Series presented by Bar Visuals. That will commence at the 5 Flag Speedway tomorrow night. We were at New Smyrna 2 weeks ago. There's a lot of cautions. I think it was 18. Last week, the Auto Club, we have 1, and we'll see how 5 Flags go. Maybe we learn from New Smyrna, maybe we won't. But nevertheless, FTF GNS presented by Bar Visuals coverage will commence tomorrow night at 10 p.m. Of course, the eNASCAR Road to Pro qualifying series. This is a bit of an Easter egg here for anybody out there watching, as we will have coverage of Second Split alongside Podium Esports, who will be taking top split for the eNASCAR Road to Pro qualifier series. That is round number 1, going to be taking place at the Las Vegas Motor Speedway. So that you will not want to miss. You can tune into double coverage along with Podium Esports to watch the top 2 splits as everybody on the iRacing service begins their climb to try and become an eNASCAR iRacing Coca-Cola Series driver. And then, of course, FTF, SNSL, except it's on Friday. That will be next week. We'll roll off from Talladega at 9 p.m. on our scheduled start time next Friday night. But big development there. And, of course, when I say we, Justin, I don't mean we. I'll be driving in that race, but we'll still have coverage of it nonetheless.
It's going to be fun to see who ends up qualifying this year, especially with the system now with the top 70 for the second round of the qualifying series as well, Blake. And that's going to provide a lot of opportunities, I think, for just the first 2 splits, but splits 3, 4, and 5. As long as they compete and have speed, it gives them the opportunity to be able to run for a chance to go to the Pro Series, or the Contender Series, I should rather say. It's going to be fun to see how things break down with that. But we had several drivers stay out once again here. Hagenstein and Freilich once again staying out. But how about Sean Butler now up to 3rd? How about David Schildhaus back up to 5th? And how about that man, Davey Davis, inside the top 8 for this restart?
Well, I hope for Davis it goes a little bit better than the Moon Split 200 went. Obviously, those cars are a real handful. He was able to try to navigate his way through. He was having a tough time wheeling that car tomorrow, so we'll see if this race goes any better. But let's just hope we can get some green flag laps in here, shall we? I mean, we're already on lap 10, haven't made it one lap. I think this is going to be the restart here, Justin. We'll see these guys settle things out, at least try to get a couple laps under their belt before making any big, meaty moves too soon. So we'll see if they can sort that out. Lights are off on the pace car. He'll be ducking off the just massive banking here at the iRacing Superspeedway. Once again, Tristan Hagenstein, Cole Freilich, they stayed out on that first caution, and they are still on the front row, 27. Going to wait until Barney the flagman gets them started, and we'll try to see if we can do one better. This time, green flag is out, already to 150, already to 160s. You see cars jockeying for position back in the pack. Oh, nearly contact there for about 3rd as Schildhaus nearly gets into the side of somebody as they work it into turn 1.
A lot of these guys being very aggressive there, and I think at this point, drivers like Clapper and several others saying, you know what, I'm going to the back. Even though that takes us 4 wide, we're going to the back. But already it looks like Sean Butler wants to show that he wants to lead some laps here from what it looks like. Wanted to push Hagenstein. Wouldn't be surprised if he's seen him pop up to that middle line the first chance he gets to try and take the lead.
We'll see if he's able to do that again. Because we're going so fast, the air behind you, having that driver behind you kind of create that air bubble and shove you forward is so important. You're going to see it right here. It's David Schildhaus going to go to the bottom. 3 wide for the race lead as Schildhaus has the help. They're going to shoot up the banking. They'll see if they can make it work. Butler way up the racetrack. Tyler O'Neill shoves David Schildhaus to the front. And the gamer advantage Chevrolet will go to the point, but here comes O'Neill on the high side.
And O'Neill had a very solid race for the drivers taking part in the Moon Split 200 just a few moments ago. I think he's going to be someone we're going to see be very aggressive, though. He was aggressive in that race, and I think that earned the respect of a couple of drivers like Butler, who is known for being aggressive and wanting to commit to winning these types of races. It's still early on. That's the big thing. But these drivers are wrecking.
Schildhaus gets turned from the race lead as a bump gone awry sends him around. The whole field is going to pile into him. Another car spinning the inside. It's Adam Gilliland, but that one started up front, and that was just a bump draft gone wrong. As I think there's a pretty common phrase in super speedway racing, and it's "don't push the pusher." And I think Brandon Cattell, he was that 3rd car in line. He gets into the back of the 24. Mike McConville, who was just not perfectly lined up with David Schildhaus, and unfortunately by the time the 24 got shoved into Schildhaus, there was just nothing that he could do. He just turns the 20 around.
That's exactly it. He was lined up with McConville. McConville wasn't lined up, and that's just not a good recipe for this type of racing. For everyone else, just not too much time for them to avoid David Schildhaus right into the middle of the racetrack, bouncing off that wall. and some massive lockups all the way from the back there trying to dodge this.
Looks like the 84 gets tagged in that of VNSU. He gets a part of it as well. Like, again, there's when the leader gets turned to the right on a straightaway at a plate track, you can see here, look at the 80 and the 24. That's really where you're going to see this all start. The 80 is into the back of the 24. He's just trying to get that lane going, but it is hard to be that third car in line shoving that second car, because the one thing about these machines, Justin, is if you're that car pushing the one in front of you and you're locking bumpers, you can't see past that car that you're locked with. So I doubt Cattell even knew that Shieldhouse was in the position he was in, or even if they were lined up, I think he could just see the back of the 24, and that was it.
I think so too at this point, but you got to feel for Shieldhouse. That's his second major incident involved in already in this race. So he's going to be in trouble the rest of the day here. Already you had Corey Carpenter, who was already a lap down. So a rough day for the North Force Racing machines, to say the very least. On the bright side, Carpenter is the only car one lap down, so there's a chance he might get a wave.
There's a chance he might get it, but again, I think if you're Carpenter or even Shieldhouse, your car's destroyed. We have not shown the ability to run under the green flag for very long, so as weird as it sounds, I would consider saving that fast repair. We're not even a third of the way through this race, already seeing our third caution flag of the day, and this doesn't surprise me too much, Justin. I know running a couple of races here, obviously Carb Cup is one thing. You can't really get a gauge on anything by that, but just the one thing that is always shocking here is just how much load is on the front of this car when it gets into the corners, and I just don't think drivers, it's so hard to try and pinch a guy down on the bottom because you don't know how much they're going to slide up. It's a really hard balance to strike at a track that you think, oh, it looks easy. You have all this room, you have all this banking, you have all this speed. What could possibly go wrong? But I'm telling you, just with how much speed, it's something that's totally unique, totally out of these drivers' comfort zones. And I think that's why you see a lot of issues here with some of these drivers.
I think so, and it's just so deceptively challenging. Thinking, oh, it's a super speedway race. That means going full throttle majority of the time, like say at Daytona or Talladega. It's not quite that simple. And we've seen this so far tonight, where if you don't play the lines perfectly, if you don't predict potentially what could happen if you make a said move, if you don't anticipate what's happening around you, you end up with significant damage, and you end up getting involved in these incidents. It's just been weighing that way so far tonight, and at the very least, we can say one thing. It's a one-stopper on the fuel bleed from here on out, from what it looks like. 53 laps to go this time by. It's the matter, though, of how these drivers run this race and how many green flags we get, which is going to be so pivotal here to start off this season.
Going to be very pivotal as the lights will go off on the pace car. Some quick cautions here cycling through as we are already under the yellow flag for the third time this evening. Nearly 200 miles is what we're going to be running here. 3-mile racetrack. It's a long way to go. And, of course, I think we're just going to try to get some laps in here. I think that's what a lot of these drivers, especially those who took their fast repair. I saw David Shieldhouse. He took his fast repair. So he will – I imagine if you're already in a wreck, you already used up that fast repair, I got to think you're going to hang out in the back for a while here, Justin. I don't think you have really any reason to try and push it.
I don't think you have any choice, really, with how this race is played out here. Do you really want to risk it by trying to cut your way through the field and getting involved in another major incident if you've used the fast repair? No, obviously you don't. So I wouldn't be surprised if they try and stay as far back as they can, even try and lay back from the main pack at the rate this is going.
Let's get a Davies Doobies update. He's running back here in the 15th position. He was clear of that accident. The bottom split Chevrolet, for the most part, looks pretty clean. May have just a skosh of right front damage, maybe scrape something with the outside wall, but definitely not going to be too hurt right there. Is Davies Doobies. So we'll make sure to keep track of his progress through the field. May even bring a couple guys up here. If we get another caution, we'll have to bring somebody up here to talk to, or else we might lose our minds. But iRacing.com Mustang pace car going to make its way onto the safety of pit road. This time it is Colin Bauer, Justin Malillo, as well as a handful of drivers that elected to stay out under that last caution. Colin Bauer going to try to pull a good Dogecoin here and bring that thing to the front. Green flag is in the air, and a nice launch there from Malillo. He's got a little bit more organization there with the 68, a little closer to him, but I think Bauer with that track position. Here comes Tristan Hagenstein. He's going to have that preferred lane on the bottom, that shorter way around as they work into the first set of corners.
And nice clean launch once again, but at this point, it's been proven that Butler wants to use that middle line. I think that's what Hagenstein just realized. Nice solid push, and they have left Colin Bauer out to dry on that bottom groove.
Out to dry like a... I don't even know where I was going with that. It's Derek Justice now shot up to the top side, 3 wide. He's all by himself. He has really nowhere to go. He's going to continue to fall on back. They work single file for the first handful of cars. It is Tristan Hagenstein up front. Sean Butler started 23rd in this race, just hopped out of the booth and is trying to hop up to the front of the field. The Pennzoil Machine, who was asking for Valvoline emotes in the chat, already looking to go to the front in his Ford Mustang.
Absolutely. I think at this point, though, with the amount of cars, you just work together. It's the smart thing of just stay in a single line and work together. Yes, I know that's a button somewhere. But either way, with the way this is played out, that's the smart thing. It's just the trouble spot of, can you stick to the yellow line on the corner exit since these things are bottoming out hard? How about Butler wanting a race lead?
Butler goes to the race lead, and you can see very quickly how much having a car behind you makes a difference as our race leader, Tristan Hagenstein, falls back to second now. He's still on the bottom, but Sean Butler going to be able to go to the race lead here and take control of the point. But again, the problem with this racetrack is here, Justin, you can't make your car 6 lanes wide. Butler's going to go to the middle. Now he's going to see the run coming on the bottom. He's going to go down there. Hagenstein up the middle. They're going to go 3 wide. Hagenstein shoots up the racetrack, and that's another thing with this track that's just so unique. You have to anticipate getting into the corners, or else you're just going to shoot right up the track, take somebody out.
Exactly what I was noting before, as Hagenstein's been left out to dry. Look at this.
Colin Bauer with no help is going to go to the race lead. Now Justin Malillo joins him. This is what the fans out there wanted to see. Sean Butler going to be able to hold pace right now on the bottom for now. But again, the banking off the top, you get such a run down. It's pretty much a big hill is what it amounts to. It's not even fair to just call it off the banking. As look at the 2-car hookup on the outside. Here comes the 4 looking to go. He'll cross over to Butler. So Colin Bauer, aggressive early on. He's once again in control of the lead.
I think Sean Butler or Justin Malillo is the next driver who wants to try and cycle up here based on what we've seen so far. How about Isaac Johnson now into the conversation? Hagenstein, though, and I think Johnson, is panicking because he just had a massive run and realized he had too much speed. He's now bottoming out on that top line and then some.
Yeah, he definitely checked up hard there as you continue to see about 10 or 15 cars really trying to duke it out here for the race lead. Everybody else just trying to ride along and get to some type of point where we can get some miles on in this race. Bauer, he hits the apron. This is what we're afraid of, but seems like that second line, Sean Butler, they were prepared for that. They give them plenty of room. 3 wide throughout the entire pack. Here comes a huge run. Where did Brandon Cattell come from? He went all the way to the lead from about 15th off of turn 4. What an incredible move.
Should be worth noting he's got your fastest lap, and you can tell why, from 15th to the lead. What a big burst of speed, and that's what you can do if you time this up right and have the perfect lines open up for you. I don't know if that's going to be able to keep him in the race lead, but it is going to give him the track position. I think the next drivers we might see try this may be Derek Justice or somebody, because this is looking crazy, to say the very least.
It just goes to show you how hard it is to lead. Cattell was about 10 miles an hour faster than the field. He goes to lead, already lost it, not going to have it at the stripe. Here comes a huge run from Derek Justice, Justin Malillo, Colin Bauer. I mean, the runs you just get here are massive as Butler nearly gets into Brandon Cattell as they work into the corners.
And Shieldhouse has now shown that he doesn't want to stay patient. He wants to push. He wants to try and get up to the front despite using the fast repair already. Heck of an amount of speed, 248 miles an hour. How about near 250? In fact, he might be able to try and shoot up the middle. He's trying to play the lines for the lead again.
Shieldhouse not going to lay back. He doesn't have a fast repair to speak of anymore. He's going to go to the high side. He has no help out there. You have to have that driver behind you. Here comes Brandon Cattell up front to the bottom 3 wide as Shieldhouse tries to give Justice a shove into the corners. Shieldhouse falls back down. Colin Bauer going to get a huge run off the corners. He works down the banking. Shieldhouse to the bottom as he cleared Justice. This time he is. Here comes Shieldhouse. Now he's looking for the lead. Top side 3 wide. My goodness.
And he's got a teammate too, and Derek Justice to help him here. Looking like some air drivers wanting to take it 4 wide into the corner. Here we go.
Cattell gets into Justice, and the caution is out as Shieldhouse went down to clear. It looked like perhaps the 27 may have nicked the apron there. Cattell moves up the racetrack. Derek Justice gets turned hard in the outside retaining wall, and that's going to take out about a handful of cars here. Cole Freilich, he has heavy damage. Colin Bauer was making some aggressive moves there up at the front of the field. He gets tagged in that. And then another thing about the way this track races, Justin, when wrecks happen, it's so hard to know where to go because there's so much banking. The wrecks fall so quickly. You never know where to go.
Yeah, that was where I could tell that was going to be ugly the second they went 4 wide. You see the slide up. Cattell pushes up, makes contact with Justice, and they all slam up against the safer barrier. Significant damage for all those drivers. And then there's a secondary incident because Cosman, you see down there, in the checkup effect, this is, I think, what you were referring to more so, ended up trying to slam on the brakes and hit the back end of the 22, I believe it was. He got slammed into another car, and they all slammed to make it what was originally a 3-4 car incident into about a 9-10 car incident just about.
Luke Breitschoff, he also became part of that as well as the wreck was happening, and he tried to drive through it rather than slow down, and unfortunately that was not able to work for him. Gosh, what a hard lick there into the safer barriers here at Coca-Cola Superspeedway. There you see the 56 coming into your screen right there. He wrecked, and he's going to have to at least use a fast repair for that. But my goodness, just the runs here they build, you get so much speed so quickly. It's just ridiculous. There you see the 56 in slow motion. That wreck was already there for about 3 seconds before the 56 got there. And that's just a case of not really slowing up too much for it.
Well, here's the thing. Have you ever tried hitting the brakes, Blake, at 250 miles an hour? It's not easy. These cars are trying to wound down the speed so quickly. And there's not a lot of time to be able to react. It's similar to what you see with about 1 second in Superspeedway racing when you go 190, 200 miles an hour. You have that limited amount of time to react. You're inevitably going to end up making contact unless you really get yourself in the binders or get really, really lucky when it comes to avoiding the cars around you. And in this case, we're now in a situation where there are plenty of drivers having to get significant repairs done in this race already.
Well, getting significant repairs or just trying to save that fast repair, again, already working under the 4th caution flag, had our longest run of the evening in that stint. But to talk about what you're saying there with the brakes and getting slowed down, obviously this challenge for these drivers, getting slowed up 240 miles an hour in the corners, in one respect, it is very difficult and something that's totally unique to these drivers to try to get those cars slowed down. The other thing, though, that I think plays in their favor a little bit is just the amount of banking here that is at this racetrack is just I don't know. There's just no way to describe to the viewers out there unless you just get on iRacing and try to feel it yourself just how much these cars slow down in the banking, and you can kind of use that to your advantage. Obviously, it's hard to hit the brakes, but I think you can travel up the banking and it will slow you down so much just because of how massive it is. You're basically climbing up a mountain if you wanted to.
But the tough thing is, Blake, when you're getting into an incident situation is, if you climb up the hill, are you going to get yourself involved in an incident or into the wreck, Blake? And I think that's the tough part when it comes to this. It's going to be intriguing how this all plays out, though. By the way, 2 tires stop for Hagenstein to keep the race lead. The rest of the field here on 4 tires plus, Derek Justice off and away with 20.6 seconds of damage repair, is still in 12th position from all of that.
We'll see. We'll see. I know a lot of drivers, I think when you think about Carnomaly, those car tomorrows, those things are made like tanks. They can take a significant amount of damage, and those things are not going to be slow. These cars, on the other hand, you scrape the right side when you're going 250, and you'd be hard-pressed for me to believe that that is not going to have some effect on the aerodynamics of these machines. So we'll see how these drivers that don't use their fast repair want to keep it in the back pocket for now, or they've already used it. We'll see how damage affects those drivers as the pace car will pull off here in just a moment. Lap number 27 going to go on the board here in just a moment. Still, it is Tristan Hagenstein, Mike McConville, your top 2. In row number 2, it is Sean Butler and Michael P. Frisch. Imagine 27, once again, will wait until the green flag comes out from the flag stand to get us going, and that is exactly what he does. And we'll see everybody in the back of the pack trying to jump that, and they're crashing at the start-finish line.
Oh, and they're somersaulting, some of them. Pirouetting a couple of them, I believe. What happened there?
Oh, no, Davies Doobies is in it. Justin Malillo off the pit road wall, flung into the air. This was a bad one. We've seen this a couple of times here on these restarts, and I think this is just a case of, I think Davies Doobies just got a little bit loose. Yeah, he gets a little loose, hits the safer barrier, comes back down, tags Brandon Cattell. That's going to give Colin Bauer some damage, and yeah, we're going to see right here, just spins the tires, and that wall is not going to act too kindly to that car. It's going to throw it off, and into the right rear, Brandon Cattell goes the 305 machine.
Yeah, he just could not get going for a good 100, 200 feet. And just slid right against that wall and just ping-ponged along it, and just nowhere for everyone to go, because you're not expecting to crash right off the start here. This is incredible for some of these drivers here in this incident, where you just have terrific luck in this situation, especially Malillo, who ends up nearly flipping upside down in all this.
It's so hard here on this front straightaway, and the massive difference in this track between the front stretch and the back stretch. You look at that front stretch there on your screen, it almost looks like Dover in a sense, right? You have the inside wall and the pit road wall for a good portion of the front straightaway. Meanwhile, on the back stretch, I mean, you have what's nearly a mile between the outside wall and the very inside wall that is well beneath the apron. But it certainly made these restarts very interesting to watch, because things happen so quickly. There's just not a lot of room to go between those two walls. And yeah, you can see how thin it is right there. It is very difficult to try to make anything work. And of course, you know, that apron down there with where all those yellow lines are, that's pretty much completely flat. So it's hard to go down there and try to avoid anything as well.
Yeah, it's almost like, say, Bristol or Dover and some of those types of racetracks, or even tracks like Phoenix at the moment on the iRacing service, where that wall ends up being a funnel. And when you smack into that funnel, it flings you back against the other parts of said funnel. And these drivers just had that massive funnel effect here that really shakes up the complexion of this race, to the point where we talked about Corey Carpenter and his damage on his car, he's now in 13th position. It's to that point where he's got a clean car and now has a strong chance with some of these drivers banking on the fast repairs, though. Did they use them too early? Because at this rate, it's been difficult to get a green flag run in, Blake.
It really has. I think Carpenter had a little bit of a blessing. He had his fast repair in tow. Andy was the first car one lap down, so he really had no incentive. He could just let them drive and wreck themselves, and then when he got back on the lead lap, obviously he's going to take the opportunity to use that fast repair. Several drivers, though, not only a lap down, but they are not on the racetrack getting repairs at this moment. Keith Sherman it looks like he's gone behind the wall. Davies Doobies, he's left the racetrack. Jake Poulin, he's also gone off as well. Colin Bauer. So a couple of drivers here, along with Matthew Zwack and Adam Gilliland, who pulled it into the garage a couple of laps ago. So already in this race, we had that fast repair, obviously, for the back pocket, but about 5 or 6 drivers that have already gone through both of them. They will not see the end of this race. 26 drivers of 32 that took the grid are right now on the lead lap. And, you know, there's no better place to be than out front at a plate track, it seems to be. And Tristan Hagenstein, feels like we keep mentioning his name because he's pretty much controlled every restart that we've had so far tonight.
Well, that's because he has. He's obviously put in a decent amount of work to try and play the lines, and that's where that qualifying came into play. He's looked impressive. He's played this smart. He stayed out of massive trouble. Now, it's going to be critical of, is he going to have friends for when it's going to be a big-time part of the race? Because Malolo was one of his major friends. He's now marred in traffic. You also have drivers like Naraki, who has damage. So this is going to be where that friendship that you have with your fellow competitors and respect from others is going to be very important. Your friends are where you find them by the time you get towards the end of these races.
Again, about 6 or 7 drivers out of this race that took the green flag. We are not even to the halfway marker, so still a long ways to go here. Already 5 cautions for 13 laps. You can see lead changes, I would imagine, is going to continue to rise here with just how many runs you can get at that race lead. We'll see how these guys sort it out here. You look at Clint Roberts there in the second row. He was involved in our first caution. He runs in the 4th position. 33, he's already used his fast repair. Isaac Johnson, he was involved in an accident as well. So nearly everybody swept up in something up to this point. Still a long ways to go, though. Tristan Hagenstein will start us once again. Great restart, though, for Sean Butler. He actually got such a good one, he has to check up a little bit to not pass the 27 as we're back underway here at the iRacing Superspeedway. Hagenstein out by about 2 car lengths over the 33. Butler looked to get down but wasn't quite able to make it work.
I think, though, he might be able to try and find a hole right behind Clint Roberts at this point to be able to try and get some speed. I think he might have some takers, though, when that comes. No, here comes Derek Justice and company to close the hole.
Justice goes to the bottom. Butler left all by himself in the middle lane there. He's got no help. It may allow Adam Martin to get down, but he's not going to be able to complete it. Justice onto the apron. Butler saw it. He gets out of the way. They scatter 3 and 4 wide. Now that they're up to full song, here comes Corey Carpenter. He's going to hook up here with Derek Justice. He's got a big run, and actually he's going to take it with David Schildhouse up the middle.
Don't blame him. That's where the momentum's going at this point. Up towards that top line. But they have Michael Frisch who's trying to play the lines and wants to try and hold on to both of them at this point. You have to be smart, though, when it comes to these moves. Right now, some of these drivers still playing fairly dangerously so far.
And Justice, oh man, he's going to make a big-time move there to the middle. He's going to give some help to Sean Butler as he threaded the needle there under Tristan Hagenstein. Still very aggressive moves being made here early on, but again, getting hooked up, having that partner, working with somebody so huge as Justice looks to the outside, nearly turns Sean Butler, but he's going to give him a huge shove here down the front straightaway as it looks like the 15 of Cole Freilich is going to jump up with them on the high side.
And you're going to see the importance down the straightaway of the tandem draft you just referred to. If you build up a big enough run to be able to push on forward, you can get speeds of 251 miles an hour. And Sean Butler already up to 245 despite the damage here. I think Justice is trying to utilize him, though, to try and get some position. Butler, though, is going to ditch him.
Oh, Butler was able to clear for the race lead, but by mere inches, he gets it done. And what's unfortunate here is he's going to lose the race lead to Tristan Hagenstein. You see the two-car tandem with Derek Justice working there at the front of the field. I believe, and my hypothesis may be wrong here, but at least from my personal experience driving this car at this racetrack when it first came out, if you can get a two-car tandem, that's great. If you can get a three-car tandem working, you are really going to be rolling. And we'll see if anybody can get a three-car train to work here. Tristan Hagenstein leads him onto the back straightaway. Here comes Brandon Cattell once again. Huge run. Is he going to go low? Is he going to go high? Looks like he's going to fall right in line and look 3 wide for just a moment there. But he gets back in line behind the 15.
And how about that? Another purple lap of 43.104 for him last time by the stripe. So Cattell is thinking about the points here and really has been utilizing some of these runs. I think they're going to go back near 3 wide again here potentially with the way Cattell's driving. He's just waiting for the opportunity. Here we go.
Just waiting for the chance is the top 3 trying to make it work on the high side. Butler's actually going to poke his nose to the outside of Justice. That leaves Derek Justice with no help. He'll drop back. Butler and Cattell committed there on the top side as they're now 4 wide for second. Now Justice will join that high side. No help on the bottom there for Freilich or for Tristan Hagenstein. That top line is rolling. Now David Schildhaus going to be in the mix. They're 3 wide for first. They're 3 wide for second, or in the second row.
Now, the main theory when it comes to super speedway racing is when you're in that middle line in particular, it's the quickest way down the straightaways as well as that top line compared to the bottom. But the bottom line, as talked about, has been the quickest way around for today's action. So it seems to be coming into play here, Blake, with some of these runs we're starting to see here from a couple of these drivers.
Huge runs being made of that, there is no doubt. Big one here for the 15 of Cole Freilich. He'll get shoved out of the race lead. Schildhaus had the lead for just a moment. Now in 3 and 4, he goes from having the lead on the back straightaway to all the way back to 7th. He's now back to 8th. He's now back to 9th. And he's just free falling right here. 1 car to the outside wall. That was Michael Frisch. He has no help. Again here, the runs are massive, but also the anchors that some of these cars seemingly have when they don't have help is just as massive as well.
Jeremy Clapper's a good example. He's now lost a bit of the draft. He is nearly 1 second behind already for the main pack that's separated by about 1.1 seconds in this whole gaggle of cars here. But if you time it up right and just hang on to that 1 second, you can still just barely hold on. The rest of the field, about 14 seconds back, 23rd on back. So overall, going to stay very tight, I think, for these cars, as long as you stay within that 1.1, 1.2 second cushion or so.
That's going to be huge. And, of course, you do have to think about temperatures. You do have to manage your noses. Look at Cattell. He makes a move by Butler. And here comes Cole Freilich. A huge run 4 wide for the lead. Cole Freilich gets it done. And that just goes to show you, getting side by side, you allow that car behind you to just get such a massive run. Cattell has taken advantage of it. But, unfortunately, Freilich, he gets too far out front. He's got no help. Brandon Cattell going to look for the draft. Here comes Sean Butler. He's got a huge run from Derek Justice. He's going to go to the race lead here in 3. My goodness, the run. What a massive run as Justice tried to go with Butler down at the bottom, not able to make it work.
Take a look at this. So Ryan Araki is slowly but surely creeping his way on forward, as well as Cosman. Both of those cars now wanting to cycle their way up to the front with the way the momentum's flying.
Cole Freilich, that last lap, went from the lead to 7th, back to the lead, all in the span of 1 lap. This track is insane. And this is the type of racing that I think all these virtual fans wanted to see when they hopped over from the Moon Split 200. Late night action here on STN. Blake McCandless, Justin Prince, and Zach Johnson along with you here. at the iRacing Superspeedway and the FTF Superspeedway League. And one car to the outside wall. It's Justin Malillo. The 33 is there as well. They save it. No caution yet. They're wrecking on the apron. Still no wreck. And there is the yellow flag flying as it finally comes out. It looks like one car there. Huge damage for Gabe Allen, who may have been in that. But, yeah, just another case of bouncing off the apron. I believe the 84 of Cosme and Eshu, he got on the apron there heading into 3. And when you're 3 or 4 wide, it's just an accordion effect up from that point.
It just looked like no reaction, or no time to react, I should rather say, in that type of scenario again. Especially saying you're in the cockpit, you're driving, and then all of a sudden, bam, you get a fender crushed in on your left side, and that just sends them all up the racetrack. The unfortunate thing is, optimistic Gabe Blake, if you remember, had been one of those drivers who was optimistic on strategy in that race earlier on tonight. He's that car that just came in flying that didn't realize there was going to be a car who was already locked down in the middle of the racetrack.
Man, that last run, I tell you what, Justin, that last run, that is the type of racing that you really love to see at this track. It was worth the wait to see that last run and how it played out. But as we work under caution flag number 6 of the evening, we're going to go side by side as we pace around, get through some pit stops here on this yellow flag as we take one more look at what brought out this latest caution. We're not going to go anywhere. We're going to stay glued to our screens here, but we'll run side by side and we'll be back with you in just a moment.
iRacing is a sim racing game that combines a true-to-life racing experience with an online community of virtual racers from all around the globe. iRacing offers a multitude of officially licensed cars and tracks, laser scanned with millimeter accuracy. Their car models and mechanical systems are based on real-world physics, engineered in cooperation with manufacturers and race teams. Their skill license system ranges from rookie to pro, ensuring members are always pitted against those with similar skill sets. Members are able to sign up for a weekly race series, compete in time trials, host a private race with friends, and participate in racing leagues created and run by the community. With over 170,000 members, iRacing works in partnership with renowned motorsports organizations like NASCAR to deliver virtual races based on the real-life NASCAR Cup Series, as well as many other series on the NASCAR ladder. iRacing also features team racing, providing a variety of options for members to create and manage their own teams. Race with friends or real-world teammates in full-length endurance events like the 24 Hours of Daytona, Spa 24, or the Bathurst 12 Hour. Additional partners include IMSA, World of Outlaws, Supercars, and IndyCar, allowing members to race in their very own Indianapolis 500, Bathurst 1000, Chili Bowl, and many more iconic events. This is iRacing, delivering the most authentic racing experience short of getting into a real race car. Sign up today at iRacing.com.
Back with you here for the FTF Saturday Night Superspeedway League. I mean, except it's on Fridays, but we are into Saturday morning. How about we get a Sean Butler update from the man himself? Sean, up here in second, how is it hanging up there with that Pennzoil Ford?
Well, it's going, man. We had a slight incident with, when David Schildhouse got turned on the front straightaway and just flew into the air, but we had a little bit of damage. It's kind of hindering us. If the run goes long enough, it kind of starts to blink the oil a little bit, so we got to watch that. But other than that, I mean, if everyone minds their P's and Q's up here, this is pretty dang fun.
It looks like a lot of fun out there. What's one thing you have to look for? Because obviously it seems like as soon as you think you have a massive run, you have this thing figured out, you're just as quickly dropping in the back.
Oh yeah, I mean, you gotta put yourself in the right spots, man. Just like every super speedway race on here, pretty much. But you cannot block these runs. If you see someone coming up, you got to let them go because they are just going to run you over. So you got to be looking in the mirror just as much as at the windshield in these things. But that's the beauty of super speedway racing. You never know when the run's going to come at you.
All right, Sean. Well, we'll let you get back to work. Thanks for talking to us.
No problem, guys. Have fun up here, man.
We are having fun. Yeah, that last run was a lot of fun. I can't wait to see the last 25 laps in this race. So pace car going to move off. I think we're moving to the point now where a majority of the field, or at least close to it, is going to get that 5 bonus points for leading a lap. Who leads the most? That'll be interesting to see. But it'll be Cole Freilich this time who will lead us back to the green flag. Sean Butler in second. Ryan Araki's made his way back up here into third. Hagenstein in fourth. Oh! And the 15 doesn't go. He gets turned, and no caution. The green is still out.
Wow. How about tire spin?
Now
there's the
out.
caution. But wow. I've seen this happen before at super speedway racing. It's so easy where you can end up having tire spin. It was this thing where Freilich, I think, got some help, because Naraki was all over the back bumper of him, trying to push him forward here, wanting to go a bit earlier, and I think ended up hooking him.
Yeah, and I'm actually looking at that right now. I don't even think Freilich did anything wrong there. He was just getting run into. Well, look here. I think Naraki's just trying to jump the gun a little bit, and yeah, he just turned him. Just absolutely turned him before they got the green flag. Somehow the flagman, I think he dropped the yellow flag. You could see him waving like crazy, and I guess Barney doesn't see all the cars doing a burnout and stopped, and there they go. There you go, Barney. All right, he finally looked down. Maybe his peripheral vision isn't really that good, but nevertheless, tough break there for Cole Freilich. I mean, yeah, you can see right there. I don't know if Justice got in the back of Naraki initially, but we'll see one more time here.
Yeah, you see it right here. They're starting to stack up. He wants to go for the green flag and ends up getting right to that right rear quarter panel just about. Wow.
Yeah, I mean, that was not contact from Justice. That was all the 37 just trying to jump it and offset, and unfortunately Freilich just he doesn't get tagged here. It doesn't look like. Hard lick there for both the 51 and the 94. Jeremy Clapper, Kyle Short get wrapped up in that. 56 just maybe scraped the 43, but otherwise got by Tyler Williams. That is my goodness. After how crazy and how much fun that last run was, that's kind of a letdown right there. A guy gets turned, and again, he is the control car. He is the leader, so you cannot go before the leader. And unfortunately, not a lot of patience being shown there.
And at this point, just about everybody at this point has the badge of honor and armor of being able to take repairs at this point. So if you haven't gotten damage, you are the lucky few. It just seems today. Just seems the majority of these drivers are also wanting to make sure they're good on the gas here, but I'm speechless. I'm just absolutely speechless about that. Unfortunate for Sean Butler, who we just spoke with, ended up getting hit hard on that side, but I believe he's going to be in trouble here on the left side in particular. It's going to be right there. You see that door. It's going to be really intriguing how bad that damage is going to affect him now.
And you definitely don't want any damage on the doors to affect that arrow. And poor Sean Butler just sounded so hyper. He was like, I hope you're having fun, guys. And before you know it, he's getting turned, or at least got hit there on that whole cycle of things. So that you really hate to see that. It looks like here, I believe we're going to continue on here. Shieldhouse is falling back through the field. Not exactly sure why. Perhaps he's thinking better. I will say one thing to David Shieldhouse on that last restart. He gave about at least 15 car lengths, if not more, to that driver in front of him. He was thinking there is no point in me being up here for this restart. And I think that actually kind of saved him a little bit, because he was so far behind that wreck that happened. He didn't have to worry about anything.
And keep in mind, again, he already had some front end damage on that race car, just a little bit crunched in. You can just see a tiny bit with the splitter right there. that's going to be where I think that really plays into a factor of, okay, I've got to make sure this car stays clean. I'm backing up just in case something happens. Guess what? Something happened. And that's just where some of the higher driver IQ comes into play when you're towards the back and know that things have been hectic throughout a race such as this. Now with about 21 to go when we get back racing, we have some whole new players up towards the front.
New players towards the front, and that's exciting to see, but it's so meaningless almost in a way. I don't want to say it that way, but that's almost what it is, because we have seen drivers in 15th be able to make their way up to about 3rd in just about a straightaway here. You know, I think the straightaways are, what, this 3-mile racetrack, well, these straightaways are about a mile long-ish or so. Just the track position, I just feel like it doesn't mean that much when you can get so many runs, and they're so huge, and certain drivers just fall through the pack so quickly. It'll be really interesting to see here. 21 laps to go when we get the green flag, this time by pace car going to pull onto pit road this time. And like you said, newcomers at the front of the field, Mike McConville, Adam Martin, your top 2, Tyler O'Neill, and the man they call D Natters there in that Houston Astros inspired scheme. Actually, no, it's different for me. Garrett Smithley inspired scheme that he ran in the duels at Daytona, running there in the 4th position. So McConville going to get us started. Hopefully leader doesn't get turned this time. Pace car's off, and looks like we're smooth sailing up front. Green flag back out here at iRacing Superspeedway.
Much better launch this time, but it looks like a couple drivers are already blocking very aggressively here. This is not a good recipe again to be able to be blocking that hard off these starts.
Tyler O'Neill was trying to make some moves there. Hagenstein's going to go to the inside. We saw Justice. He got a little bit of damage there in that wreck, but he's going to go to the outside in the Baskin-Robbins Toyota. Here comes the 89. He's all the way on the apron as they are 4 wide, looking for the race lead. McConville dropping like a rock. Here comes Sean Butler, who just restarted at the back. He's going to make it 4 wide. Second car in a 4-wide train. Butler goes to lead. Started this lap in 11th and already into 3 and 4. He has the top spot.
At this point, I'm not sure where you want to be in a run to this point if you want to try and win this race. If you want to lead laps, you can be anywhere, as you talked about. But if you want to win this race, do you really want to be at the front, especially with drivers like Brandon Cattell coming up in quick?
Oh, they're 4 wide. They're 5 for second. Now they settle it back down 3 wide. Sean Butler, here comes Brandon Cattell to his outside. Butler was just leading them off of turn 4 on the high side. Now he's in the middle. He's got nowhere to go. Derek Justice to the back of him as that middle lane stacked up nose to tail. Big run coming here for the 24 out front, and Mike McConville in that lane. Tyler O'Neill and Tristan Hagenstein able to emerge as your top 2 for now. But off the banking, we've seen some huge runs on the high side. Justice to the back of Butler. Now Hagenstein, he has nowhere to go.
Yeah, I think at this point he's a sitting duck unless Justice wants to try and push him. But as we've seen, the damage hasn't played too much a factor in some of these cars, surprisingly, especially drivers like Cattell, like Butler. Butler's still putting in some great power despite having a crush in front and a crush in left side, pushed down into a 3-wide movement.
Butler had momentum for Cattell, but Cattell didn't go with the Butler. Clears Tyler O'Neill. Oh, man, mere inches apart from cutting across the nose of that number 9 Chevrolet. Now O'Neill to the back of Butler. McConville has the lead. Carpenter going to duck out of line from Brandon Cattell. He's going to look for the top spot. He's got no help, though. Cattell will clear to the bottom. McConville in the second lane, not going to go to the bottom. Here comes Brandon Cattell to the bottom as Carpenter gets shuffled out wide.
He has a teammate, though, of Derek Justice, who might be able to try and push him if he elects to do so here. Yes, indeed. Here comes Hagenstein, though, with a big run once again, trying to get to McConville to make it 3-4 wide again.
Oh, my goodness, 4 wide. How did he fit that car in there? This is absolutely just bonkers. here at the iRacing Super Speedway. Hagenstein made the move work. Cattell now, he has no help. He's in the middle. Carpenter on the apron. Here comes Corey with the run. Justice goes from the bottom all the way to the top. He makes them clear. Now Justice to the bottom underneath McConville. They nearly get together.
These are so impressive moves, and this requires a lot of talent to make these kind of cuts without losing control. Absolutely stunning moves from Derek Justice as he's now to the point.
Justice to the lead for now, but my goodness, can we just have this car at this track every week? I mean, come on. This is absolutely insane. As Tyler O'Neill will look to the high side, he's got no help. He uses the run down the banking, though. He's still keeping up pretty good, though, on that high side as Justice will lead across the stripe that time. Damage on the nose of his Toyota Camry as we work across this time. 14 to go. They're 4 wide. They're shoved up. Carpenter is in the fence, but they keep it straight as that was a 4 wide move and a bounce off the apron that did not work out. Carpenter on the outside wall, but they keep it going straight. Damage to the Sunoco machine. Justice out front. Now here comes Hagenstein. Now here comes McConville. Justice and Cattell, they'll make it work on the bottom.
4 wide seems to be a recipe for chaos if you're in the corner entries. It's been fine down the straightaways so far today, though, and it's been where a lot of the bold moves have come from, especially down the middle of these straightaways. This is going to get very dicey, though. Justice and Cattell playing blocky.
Oh, man. Justice went low. Cattell faked him, and Justice still made it down to block him. This is absolutely crazy stuff. Where will Cattell go this time? Butler pinching him down on the bottom. Cattell, he's going to back out of it. Maybe he'll try another crack at that fast lap, although that's going to leave Justice out to dry. He's got no help when Cattell backs off, and look at the run that gives Sean Butler now to the middle, Butler to the bottom. O'Neill clears Derek Justice as well. So Butler, O'Neill, your top 2.
And how about Freilich? He's now back in the fray, was 8th position last time by. He had a bit of help before, and now some big-time blocks up front. Justice and Butler now dicing it.
My goodness, the aggression out of Derek Justice is just mind-boggling right now as he is just changing lanes like it's going out of style. Butler to the front. Here comes Derek Justice. He's going to go to the bottom. Butler thinks better of it. The veteran blocks Justice, but now it's who has the run. It looks like Justice, but here comes David Schildhouse. No help for him. He's seeing something in that 3rd lane. Perhaps it's those gamer advantage glasses as he goes to the top side, the BR line. This is an NR 2003 track. We can call that the BR line. He's going to get a huge run here with Cattell, but they are 2 by 2 up in the front 3 rows.
I think right now we're going to see that line potentially come into play. A couple drivers, remember, Blake, we're trying to get that to work, and we're really hauling up some massive speed up there when they got enough cars up there. They've got about 4 cars that are trying that same line at the moment. Shunos, though, just dunched Cattell, all while Justice and Butler are still shuffling again.
Oh, what a move for Schildhouse down to the bottom. You saw it on your screen. Guys, there's 13. I think our flag man waved the wrong hand. I think oh, no, they're crashing. 1, 2 cars into the fence. Caution is out. I was just about to say, guys, it is 13 to go, not 3. And we are racing like it is the checkered flag about to be waved every single lap. Gabe Allen looks like he may have gotten into the wall. We'll see this time by, but my goodness, just insane stuff happening here at iRacing Super Speedway. Caution flag is out again. And we'll see exactly why. Actually, 2 cars into the fence. It looks like Mike McConville, Tristan Hagenstein is around where that started.
Yes, indeed. Mike McConville, in fact, ended up getting hit by Gabe Allen. As I think Allen anticipated he was going to go a little bit lower for the corner entry, Blake, because when they went at full speed for that corner, they're already trying to sort themselves out, shuffle themselves about. Then you see the 24 just go a little bit straighter for the entry, and that's where the contact leads into this. Ends up leading to several cars involved once more again, and secondary and tertiary incidents building up all the way to turn 4.
That is a hard lick there. Comment out in the chat. I want Blake McCandless to narrate my divorce hearing. Well, if you want something out of it, I don't think I'm going to be much help there. I'm not as forceful as probably the old wife is going to be. I don't know. What say you, Justin?
I don't know how to respond to that. How do you narrate a divorce hearing properly?
I don't know. I'll ask my parents. They got divorced, so I'd probably have some good advice there in some form or fashion.
Sorry about that.
Well, it was for the better, I guess. But we'll make our way down to pit road here. We won't dive too deep into our personal lives, although we're kind of beyond that point. Derek Justice overshoots his pit box onto pit road, and you have to imagine, I think for a lot of these drivers, we're definitely good on fuel. We have some green white checkers that could potentially come into play, but for the most part, you'll get full on fuel here, and I think the tires, you'll probably take this to the end. I imagine I say track, you want the track position, but we've seen track position also doesn't matter all that much.
I think at this point, you just want a rocket launcher. The way I say that is you want to be able to build up enough for a run, Blake, to be able to launch yourself off like a rocket at 251 miles an hour. And one driver is really taking a risk here. And this is your lowest I rating driver in tonight's race with an I rating of 832. He's been able to dodge several incidents. He's been slipping and sliding to try and dodge some of these incidents. I'm curious to see how Luke does here to try and survive in this one.
We'll see what he does up front. He's got a little bit of damage. Maybe, and this is something that you used to see. I used to see it back in the day when I used to run in leagues in NR 2003 all the time. I think that this may be a case where, again, a lot of guys used to do this. You stay out, you get your lap led, get those 5 extra bonus points, and just pit the second time around. We'll see if he's going to stay out this time. And it looks like that Pepsi, that Wild Cherry Pepsi machine is going to stay on the racetrack. So he's not just going for the lap lead. He's looking to try and lead the horses out of the gate, so to speak. And he's going to lead us to green there. So we'll see if Brightshoff can make it work from the top spot. He's going to have Brennan Merza to the outside of him. Butler and Justice, the first trio of cars on pit road, as the 20 car was the only car to stay out that last time.
And this is going to be tricky again to be the control car here, because we've already seen some of the moments that can happen there. We've already seen some of the moments of trying to defend the race lead. He hasn't been necessarily, though, been in the thick of things outside of one restart where he was inside the top 5 on the outside lane. So this is the true test to see, can he handle this situation with a lot of pressure on the line here, Blake? Only time's going to tell when this green flag flies.
No telling when the green flag flies, although there's also no telling when the checkered flag may fall. We may run into a time limit here at some point. We had a 1 hour, 30-minute scheduled race here. We can either get 12 laps or the next 20 minutes. It's going to be interesting to see as our wonderful producer, Zach Johnson, throws up that timer in the top left-hand portion of your screen. So we either have 9 to go when we get the restart or 21 minutes. So I'm having fun. I hope all of you are. This is going to be a crazy end. We'll see if Brightshoff can hold it off, and I don't know. We'll see some guy in about 18th right now probably lead this next lap. Pace car is going to go off as Brightshoff has control, and he stops, and he goes again. So an interesting strategy right there. Now Butler's going to look to the inside of him. Already 4 wide for the lead. Butler to the bottom, 68, the third car. Justice in the 4th lane, and I think Butler's going to be able to make it better than anybody. He's got drafting help from Schildhouse. The 56 now stuck in the middle. So is Derek Justice. He's trying to find a way to the bottom, and Justice into the 56. He's going to get turned, and somehow he saves it, and now he's going to wreck down the track.
Tough break for Derek Justice. in what was a rough situation as the sorry buttons go flying from that one. One more car also losing the draft as a result, but things are going to get fun towards the front because Shieldhouse is back in the lead. And now Adam Martin, we haven't even talked about Adam Martin all race long, now has put himself into contention here with 8 to go.
Trying to make it happen. Adam Martin on the high side. He's just got no help at the moment. Here comes Ryan Naraki. He was involved in that controversy earlier. He's looking to try to go to the lead. Clint Roberts may try to make a move with him. Butler and Shieldhouse connected at the front. A large two-car tandem. As you can see, the entire field, it almost looks like the Daytona 500 right now. Single file on the bottom for the moment. There is just so much momentum there. Shieldhouse 250. He reaches into turn 3.
And keep in mind, Brandon Cattell still has that quickest lap. I think at this rate, with the way these drivers are working together, though, that some of that may be up for grabs with some of these drivers with the speed. This time, by majority of the drivers going to come across the stripe inside that range in the 43.3s.
Insane speeds right here, and obviously Derek Justice over the in-game radio, not too happy, but to quote, perhaps to quote himself, I guess I could say we're all human, we all make mistakes. He obviously doesn't feel like he was responsible for that contact that shot him into the wall, and it looks like for the most part has ended his chances at contention tonight. You scored 1 lap down at the moment. 20 cars on the lead lap. Really about 16 that are caught up to this lead pack. So it is anybody's game out here. You'll see they'll cross the stripe this time. 6 to go. You have to imagine we'll get that in 18 minutes unless we see some green-white checkers.
I'm keeping my eye on the second group that's starting to form up just behind where the battle between Roberts and Freilich is at the moment. Brandon Cattell was getting some help from Mike McConville, and we've seen how big of a run he's been able to build up several times today, from 15th to 1st in a couple occasions. I wouldn't be surprised to see that happen in the next couple laps from either him or a couple of these other cars right where he's at right now. In fact, Cattell realizes that middle line is starting to roll.
He goes up there to try to push, and he almost just as soon leaves it as Cole Freilich and Tristan Hagenstein nearly get together in the middle of the corner. They scatter in front of them. The 9 of Tyler O'Neill goes down to the bottom. Here comes Tristan Hagenstein up the middle, run over Clint Roberts, who has no draft there in the third line, trying to find some, but there is just nothing happening right there. Cattell's going to shoot the middle. Hagenstein up the racetrack, and there you see Clint Roberts, just no help. He's going to fall on back behind Brandon Cattell.
And it looks like that top line's starting to build those numbers up. Now it's the matter of how big of a run can they build up here. Mike McConville doing well, and here comes some blocks.
Some blocks, although Naraki not able to follow it. Oh, Martin into the apron. Somehow he saves the car. Adam Martin was dead sideways, dead to rights. Still trying to save the race car. That's the 44. He's able to get it going straight. They somehow didn't bring out the caution. They kept it going. And out front, because of that, Lucas Plosa was the one who kept that straight in the 44. Ryan Naraki, meanwhile, has taken over the race lead with now 4 laps to go.
Here comes Sean Butler, though, and it looks like he saved that fast repair for this moment. And this is the right time, especially as well Hagenstein. He saved it as well with a clean race car. Both of them, 2 of the quickest cars on the track. How about 3 wide for 3rd position on back?
Oh, it is tight at the front. It is tight behind them between Shieldhouse and Mike McConville as Shieldhouse nearly got onto the apron. 3 wide for the lead. Naraki falls back. They're all shuffling behind them. Naraki, Shieldhouse, Butler now 3 wide. Shieldhouse to the bottom. Hagenstein throws the block. So does McConville. They're going to stack it up as they head into 1. Butler moves up the track to anticipate it. 3 to go. Tristan Hagenstein now with the lead.
Expecting a big move once again from Shieldhouse possibly here. He has the opportunity to jump to the middle. It's the question of when he does it here. Does he wait for the corner exit, or does he try and wait for someone with a big run? Here comes Butler to make it 3 wide again on the high side.
Butler going to try to make it work, but it is single file. Butler up the racetrack, smoke, but he saves it. McConville on the high side. David Shieldhouse now looking for a run. Here comes Ryan Naraki to the outside. That's going to put Shieldhouse on the bottom. Hagenstein goes high to block. Now he goes back low to block Shieldhouse. 2 to go.
Too quick on that movement to be able to block both lanes there, and that little bubble just opened up enough of a door here for Shieldhouse. This is going to be wild down this back straightaway. We might see 4 wide breakout.
We might see it, but Hagenstein, great push from Sean Butler. Going to put that middle line to the front. Can Butler get down and clear Showhouse? He does. Naraki and McConville stuck on the top side. They're 3 wide for 4th. Top 3 single file. It is Hagenstein. It is Butler. It is Showhouse. If we see the white flag, we'll see it through to the end. It looks like we're going to get there. White flag. One more trip around iRacing Superspeedway.
And here comes Butler now with the run to the high side, looking to try and take away the race victory from Hagenstein. Hagenstein has controlled the momentum much of this race. He has help from Shieldhouse off at turn 2.
And Butler, no help. He thought he was going to get it from the 20. Here comes the run from David Shieldhouse. He's got help from the 68. Is Shieldhouse clear, though? Butler is still out there. Shieldhouse backing off. He's going to try to build up that run off the corner. Here comes David Shieldhouse. Does he have a move in him? The 68 is further back. That's Brennan Merzda. Lap traffic in front of them. Here comes David Shieldhouse to the outside with a run to the line. It's going to be Tristan Hagenstein by 9/1000ths of a second. Gets it done, and he will win the inaugural race of the FTF Saturday Night Superspeedway League, except it's on Friday.
What a finish and what a drive for Hagenstein. As talked about throughout the day, he was somebody that put in a lot of work to try and perform up at the front and try and make big moves. He made big moves at the right moments at the right time. What a race from Hagenstein. He played this perfectly here, Blake, to be able to come away with this race victory.
He played it perfect, and I think one thing that may have been underrated there was a little bit of lap traffic who didn't affect the outcome of or it didn't affect what these drivers were going to do. They didn't move in their lanes or anything, but they were enough in front of the leader that Hagenstein had just a little bit of draft there on the bottom, and I think that may have been just enough with Shieldhouse there as they made it to the line. You could see them stacked up behind, 4 wide, 5 wide behind the top 2. And Shieldhouse, he planned this move out. He backed off getting into 3 to try and build up that run. Unfortunately for the 20, he just did not have the help he needed to try and move on by. You see a big flip there. That's Ryan Naraki, who took a nice little visit to the infield here, climbs over the 10-foot tall safer barrier as Naraki slides across. But we'll go ahead and look at the full field rundown. Oh, wow. There's a big hit for Ryan Naraki as we take a look at the standings here in this race. Landed inside the fence, but he stuck it. Tristan Hagenstein is your winner. David Shieldhouse in second. Third went to Sean Butler after he hopped out of the booth. Fourth to Clint Roberts. Fifth was Brennan Merzda. Sixth, Mike McConville. Ryan Naraki finished in seventh. Cosme and Eshu in eighth. Tyler O'Neill finished in ninth. Brandon Cattell rounded out the top 10.
11th went to Kyle Short. We haven't even mentioned him much of this race. He was involved in some of the trouble in this race, Blake. Still comes home 11th. Frelick after leading some laps finishes in 12th, while the 20 machine finished in 13th after starting 32nd. Adam Martin, after having to save his race car, finished 14th. Hardcastle in 15th. Plussel finishes in 16th, with Norwoodney finishing in 17th. Williams, Clapper, and Painter round out the drivers on the lead lap, who end up finishing this race in the top 20.
21st finishing position was the first car that did not finish this race. Derek Justice there, 8 laps down. Late contact put him out of it. 22nd to Gabe Allen. 23rd was Corey Carpenter. 24th, Justin Malillo. 25th goes to Michael Frisch. 26th was Isaac Johnson. 27th, Keith Sherman. 28th was Davies Doobies. 29th to Jake Poulin and Colin Bauer finished in 30th. 31st to Matthew Zwack. Adam Gilliland finished in 32nd. And 33rd, he didn't take the green flag. Kyle Riley, we'll see how that's officially scored, but nevertheless, 32 drivers take the green flag, 20 on the lead lap, and none happier than this man right here. Tristan Hagenstein, you let it the white flag. And I got to be honest with you, I wasn't sure if we were going to see somebody lead the white and the checkered flag, but you pulled it off. How'd you do it?
That's a great question. I don't know how I did that. That was so fun though. I just had to block for my life there. I was up front most of the race, so I kind of had an idea what to expect, where the runs were going to come. So, I just block where I could and know where the momentum was going and try to go with the flow with it.
Well, it seemed like you went for the flow, but the one thing that it's just mind-blowing to me was just how much you guys were changing position, how you guys were jockeying out there. But it seemed no matter what, with the ebb and flow of this race, it seemed like any time we were coming to a restart, that 27 car was leading us to the green. How were you able to keep that track position all night long with how big the runs seemed to be from everybody else?
Yeah, I mean, a lot of it was because of the early cautions that kind of kept me up front and just kind of deciding to stay out. But when we got our goings going, I just kind of, like I said, block what I can. When I saw the runs, just kind of take note and then try to reproduce the same thing going down the road. And then lo and behold, here we are in victory lane because of it.
Also, you start this season with a win. What does it mean to you to start this year, brand new season, getting rolled off? How does it feel to get it rolled off on the right foot?
You have no idea, Blake. This feels really good. I've been with this league for about 7 years, ever since NR 2003 was a thing, and I have yet to score my first W until tonight, whether it be the Premier Series, the SS Series, whatever it was. So this really honestly means a lot to me. It's not often I get to talk to you guys, so this is kind of cool too. But this words can't describe how excited I am right now and how much excitement I have going through on this season.
Well, we love to see it. We're glad you're happy. I'll throw you the mic one more time. Anybody you want to give a shout out to, here's your chance.
Yeah, I just got to thank, first and foremost, I got to thank David Shieldhouse, Sean Butler, and everyone else who was just racing me really clean, really aggressive. That was a lot of fun racing with everybody up there. And then I also got to thank everybody that's in the Clout Empire Discord for always having my back. Michael P. Frisch is another guy I got to thank. He's kind of been taking me under his wing and just kind of showing me the ropes. And if it wasn't for him, I wouldn't be where I am right now. So there's so many people I could thank, but I just can't thank everyone enough. And I just hope everyone enjoyed the show.
Well, we certainly did. Y'all put on that last half of the race was probably the wildest race that I've ever personally seen as a broadcaster. And Tristan, you won it. Congratulations. Enjoy that win. And unfortunately, we're going to have to pull somebody up here. I know he wanted a win for his community so bad on Fire Suit Friday. Comes up just 9 1/1000ths of a second short of it. Justin, you've caught up with, I'm sure, a happy but somewhat sad David Shieldhouse.
Yes, indeed, David. You came so close to coming away with this victory. Started 25th, 9 1/1000ths of a second. Talk us through those final laps, trying to sort your way out to try and win this race.
Thanks, Justin. A great finish to this race. I want to say first and foremost, that was an absolute blast. It's all about the setup when it comes to this style of racing at whether it's here or Talladega or Daytona. It's the setup to that final lap. Where do you want to be coming to the checkered flag? And I knew at this track with the long straightaways and the way the runs worked, I wanted to be second coming to the checkered flag. And I positioned myself there, and I just a little bit short on Tristan. He ran a perfect race through excellent blocks to protect his position and made me go where I needed to go and did what he did to win. I wasn't going to wreck him for it. I was going to make him earn it, and he did exactly that. I'm proud of him. I wanted to win this one, but considering my luck lately, Justin, I'll take P2.
I know Sean Butler had a lot of fun. He talked about that earlier on. Some of the other drivers saying they had some fun here tonight. What was your feelings like in the cockpit throughout the night tonight, where it started off where it was cautions, precautions, but eventually it sorted out to where we've seen 4 or 5 wide action in some cases?
Yeah, it was a little rough around the edges. There's no doubt about that, but when we were able to get down to it, you could see the quality of racing that this league is going to produce. Some excellent super speedway racers. Sean Butler, certainly one of them. Naraki was doing a great job. Mike McConville was doing an excellent job. And you get laps around these guys, and you really start to trust them. You know that you can throw it to the inside of them, and they're going to leave you the space and respect the good racing to keep it going instead of doing something that ends it. And I'm glad that we were able to get there eventually. I wish we could have gotten there a little bit sooner and seen more of this, but certainly the wait was worth it, I would say. And it came down to a handful of cars at the end. And I think it was really about who was willing to make a big move. And Tristan did it right. Really have to applaud him. I'm watching it back myself. There were absolutely some breathtaking moves throughout the field, but we didn't wreck up front, and I'm proud of that. And I hope that we can continue this for the rest of the season.
Next race is at Talladega. It's the Legacy Trucks. Your thoughts there?
That's going to be a hoot. I think that's going to be really, really cool combination to take those trucks, to take them to that track and see how we do. I think the runs are going to be enormous in those vehicles. You got pretty big runs here at iRacing Superspeedway in these cars, but I think the truck with the big hole that it's going to punch in the air, you're really going to have to be mindful of those behind you and the closing rate. But if we can keep it clean, which I hope that we can, I think that we are setting ourselves up for another excellent race, and I hope that I will be a part of that as well. And we don't have as many cautions as we had tonight.
Anyone you want to thank for the run tonight?
I'm just so appreciative to see SNSL back again, this time on iRacing, and all the work that goes into it from FTF to bring this back. It's just it's like taking a step back in time to see this great league restored now in the current sim, and I'm appreciative for everybody who comes out to support it. Gamer Advantage for sponsoring me in the car tonight, and everybody at twitch.tv/Shieldhouse. We had a blast here tonight, and I hope you guys up in the booth found some entertainment. Of those watching on STN, thank you so much for supporting the league with viewership, and we'll look forward to seeing you tomorrow for FTF Grand National Series racing.
Thank you very much for your time. Good luck tomorrow.
Thanks, Justin.
David Shieldhouse coming home in second leg.
He comes home in second, and I guess we'll get another familiar voice. You heard him earlier on in the broadcast. Sean Butler, he was making some big, meaty moves there at the end. What more did you need to try and get up there and be a part of that two-car battle there at the end with Hagenstein and Shieldhouse?
Well, the part that killed me at the end, I mentioned I was blinking earlier. I got my fast repair at the end. I saved it until 10 to go, and I guess I was just sitting behind. I think I was behind Tristan too long coming to the white, and I started double blinking going into one. I'm like, man, I was committed to just pushing him through 1 and 2 and then trying to make the move on the backstretch and hoping for the best, but it just temps couldn't hold it. Sucks, though. I mean, could have had a chance to win it, but oh well. It was a fun race, though. Up front, battling was really fun. Everyone was picking their moves and making the right lane choices. It was a really fun time. I had a blast.
Well, I was about to say, this is a really busy night for a couple of us. You were obviously in the booth for the Moon Split 200. You watched cars go 230. Did anything really apply from that race over to this one? You see cars going that fast. You guys one-upped it here, going about 250 sometimes in a turn 3. But anything from that race that you think may have carried over into this one?
It's hard to say. Honestly, probably not, because the downforce in these cars are just so much more than, the COTs. But these things are just, they're just glued to the ground on this track, especially. And the faster you go, the easier they are to handle. I mean, it seemed like the people that were, the ones constantly up front were the ones that can keep it to the bottom on corner entry. There's a bunch of guys just washing up on entry with these things. They're a handful. But honestly, with this, I think if you try to base this off of anything for car anomaly or anything, you might have to kind of throw some notes out that you took, because these things are two different animals at these speeds.
Yeah, I hope I'm not giving away too many setup secrets, either for you or myself, but I'm not running a 10,000-pound left front or right front spring in my Carnomaly car like you are in this one. So, again, I hope I'm not giving anything away there, but it's a little more than what we're dealing with here. But, Sean, I'll go ahead and throw you the mic one more time. Anybody want to give a shout-out to?
I mean, for you guys, obviously, for doing this, and everybody that, waited for us to be done with the broadcast. I mean, I can't thank everybody enough for their patience and everything. And it turns out this was a pretty good show at the end. And thanks, everyone, for watching. Everyone that stayed for the raid, too, on Twitch. You guys are awesome. I see we held a pretty good viewership on Twitch, so thank you guys very much for that. And obviously, Zach, for putting the league on, of course, and everyone, the admins that run it, and everyone on my team, Dead Zone, of course, Total Advantage, everyone in the bottom split crew that was a part of the long night tonight. So it was a long night, but it was a fun night, and it was a very good way to end the week.
It was a lot of fun. I had a great time in both races, and I really enjoyed watching this one. But congratulations on third tonight, Sean. And yeah, I don't know, maybe we'll see you up here either in the booth or out on the racetrack here in some more of these FTF races.
Hey man, got tomorrow night, so we'll be out there. So y'all
Five
come watch
Flags.
tomorrow night.
You looking forward to Five Flags?
Absolutely not. We're gonna run through it. If it's anything like New Smyrna, I'm gonna be alt F4ing at the end again, but we'll see. Hopefully that doesn't happen.
All right. Well, Sean Butler brings it home in third. And Justin, I got to say, that was one of the crazier races that I think I've ever witnessed. Obviously, we started with a lot of cautions, but once we went green, holy cow, this track with good drivers, it just doesn't disappoint.
It doesn't whatsoever. Absolutely crazy race, to say the very least, from start to finish. From the earlier incidents, yes, to 4 wide action throughout the entire field in some cases. It was big, some of the runs as well. It was entertaining, to say the very least. It's going to be entertaining, though, what happens when this series goes to Talladega for its next race.
It will be interesting. Obviously, we're going to move to Talladega, where we're going to run so many different types of car combinations in this series, too. You're not going to want to miss it when that returns next week. But, of course, tomorrow night, or, well, I guess today, if you're on the East Coast, 10 p.m. Eastern, the FTF Grand National Series presented by Bar Visuals will get rolling, like Sean just said, at Five Flags. It could be interesting. It could be great. It could be a wreck fest. I don't know. Tune in, and you'll find out. And, of course, the eNASCAR Road to Pro Qualifier Series starts next Thursday night, 9 p.m. Eastern. We'll have coverage of second split here on STN. Top split on Podium Esports. Second split will be right here. And just because I say the word second split, don't think that it will be any less competitive. If anything, it might be more competitive. And then, of course, next Friday night, we will return for this series. The Saturday night Superspeedway League, except it's on Friday, right here on STN at the Talladega Superspeedway. So that's going to wrap it up for us here. And, well, I usually say the location, but I guess this track's just kind of where it is. I mean, it's a fantasy track, so there's really not a true location for it. But from our broadcast partner, Justin Prince, and, of course, Zach Johnson down on pit road, I'm Blake McCandless, and, of course, Concord, Massachusetts. Okay, apparently that's where this track is. So the home of iRacing, I suppose. All right. Well, regardless, congratulations to Tristan Hagenstein. He's your winner tonight. What a race it was. Can't wait to return next week. Thank you, everybody, for sticking around through the E-Racer raid. And we'll see if maybe we can't send you over to somebody here in the next couple of seconds. But regardless, we appreciate you tuning in and watching that incredible race. Good night, everybody.